for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks everyone. Would you please let the roll show that we're all here?
Yes.
Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted. I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to the approval of the agenda. So I want to make the motion. Can't hear me still? Hey, Will, is there any way you can turn these mics up at all? I'll try to lean in.
All right, I'll move the approval of the agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to announcements and communications. Anyone have anything to announce? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to call to the public. And call to the public is when call to the public is when we talk about non-agenda related items, and that's we have no comment backwards. It's a one-way transmission to the board. We will take everything that you talk about tonight in consideration, and we do have a meeting coming up, informational, on the 22nd of January at South Lyon East High School that we are proposing to answer everything that your concerns will show us tonight. So, and I think that it'll be a very, very good informational meeting. But that being said, I'd like to open the call to the public, and please keep it to 3 minutes if you possibly can. We have a lot of people in the room. We do want to hear from everyone. So please, if you get finished and you would like to rotate into the other room to allow the other neighbors and our other citizens here to please come to the call, we'd appreciate that. So that being said, come on up, and if you could, your name and address for the record, and let's start the meeting. Thank you.
Good evening. Happy New Year. My name is Terry. I live in Lyon Township, near 11 Mile and Milford Road. I'm going to withhold my address. I am potentially a lone voice in this crowd. I stand here in support of Project Flex. I'll make that very clear. Historically, Michigan and Southeast Michigan in particular has relied on manufacturing as a key economic driver. Lansing and many others have recognized that we need to diversify and attract jobs in the digital economy. In 2023 alone, data centers contributed $162 billion to the U.S. economy, and growing, creating high-paying jobs and driving a halo effect that attracts additional tech investment and innovation. With the approval of this project, we position our region as a technology hub, leveraging the I-96 and Grand River corridor, already a key economic artery in Michigan. IT professionals, business leaders in Lansing recognize that Michigan offers a unique advantage. It is among the most geologically stable states in the nation and ranks near the top for least tornadic and storm activity, making it one of the safest locations for critical infrastructure like data centers. This stability is a major selling point for companies seeking reliability with their investments. Now, consider the alternative, residential development. The 172 acres targeted by the Flex Data Center project would likely become over 500 homes, which would consume approximately 200,000 gallons of water per day. Although the data center project is planning to be small enough to consume less than 2 million gallons of water per day, this still raises questions about this precious resource. Will water be provided by GLEWA or the Lyon Township Community Well? If Lyon Township provides this resource, would a water reservoir or tower be needed to maintain pressure during high usage times? This is already of concern to this township. We've lived through this once already. We need to answer that question. Who's responsible for monitoring usage? Aside from expected construction traffic, which should be routed primarily through Ambassador Parkway West, we know there will be an impact on Milford Road. With water taps and emergency exits likely requiring significant closures, this raises additional important questions. Has there been a traffic study by RCOC? I'm guessing not. I haven't seen one yet. When will we understand the impact of the projected closures? How long will Milford Road be closed to through traffic? Again, we lived through this summer. We'd like to have these answers. Reviewing the plans, we see some environmental concerns for the data center that have been addressed. Revised plans include sound insulation barriers, strategic building placement, and lighting standards. There is an opportunity to require LEED certification and renewable energy integration, ensuring sustainability and minimizing the facility's impact. Still, key questions remain. Will the buildings be LEED certified?
Okay, we've got to call the time, sir. Thank you, though. Thank you for your concerns. I appreciate it. What's that?
We're getting feedback. No, the back door.
Okay, I will try to talk as loud as I can and bend over into this microphone, okay? I will try. If you can't hear me, yell at me and I'll lean in. Okay, thank you again for your comments.
My name is Nancy Hopkins. I'm going to not give my address either. But I am a resident of Lyon Township, and I've been a resident since 1999. Paid my taxes faithfully, and I've always was very, I believe that the township had my best interest at heart. My most concern I have, since I am so close to this data center, is the noise. From everything I've been reading and studying on the noise, these data centers can be up to 80 decibels. Now, I worry in my home, there's 3 senior citizens. How is that going to affect us? Is it going to affect our health? There are so many things, our sleeping patterns that can affect us. The animals, my sister thinks, everybody drops off these little animals at the corner of 12 Mile and Haas. Why, I don't know. So my sister feeds them all. And what's going to happen to the poor little animals? It affects their nervous system, and I'm not looking forward to living next to a building that's just going to hum the whole entire time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, the electricity that's at my house, when I first got there, it was very good, never went out. But since there's been new homes, businesses, the electricity is not very good. So I'm worried about this data center. It's going to suck up so much energy. What's it going to do to my house? And what's it going to do to my well water? How is it going to affect me? Has the township considered anything about me? Have you guys thought about me? You're a person over here that's been paying taxes so faithfully for the last 26 years. What about me? Have you considered me? I haven't seen this. So I'm very disappointed in the board, very disappointed. I would like to see this data center not go in, because I moved here from the city of Westland for peace and quiet. I got peace and quiet, but now you're taking it away. So I object to that loudly. So I don't really need the whole 3 minutes, but I just want you to know, please, do me a favor and do not let this data center go in, because I want my peace and quiet. I don't want to see the people in my home be disturbed by this data center. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your concerns. Wow, that's better. Ooh. That one's good. I can get back here now. Okay, thank you.
Rebecca Schreiner, Lyon Township resident. First of all, I'd like to say how proud I am of all of these people who are here behind me, and all the chatter that's been done on social media, and so many brilliant people who have done so much research about the data centers everywhere, and specifically for us, people who know far more than I do, but obviously the 3 issues are the noise, the electricity, and the water. My concern is an ongoing one, that it seems that you all, except maybe 1 or 2 board members who really fight on our behalf of the residents, but so many of you do not. You don't show respect for us as citizens, and therefore we have 0 trust in you. I read the article in the Lyon Herald, and the ludicrous comparison between cell towers from before was ignorant and insulting to all of us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm Todd Slisher. I've been a Lyon Township resident since for about 24 years now. And I joined Lyon Township because Wanted to get out of the hubbub, the busyness of the city, get out to somewhere where we could get a little space around us. That's been shrinking, and we know development happens in townships, but I think this data center is just a bad idea. I'd like to register my opposition to Project Flex. One of the things that I looked up when looking at impacts of data centers in other communities was a University of Michigan report in July that was published. This is what happens when a data center comes to town. What they found is that communities see increased utility rates. Generally, these data centers form an agreement with the local power utility for reduced rates, but the cost of infrastructure falls on all of us ratepayers. So the rates go up. It's kind of an almost invisible cost, but it is a cost, and we have to consider that. Has there been any agreement with the company or organization or with DTE to not raise our rates as a result of this data center going in? As others have mentioned, there's a lot of resource consumption with data centers, not only the power that they consume, but you just heard a quote of how many gallons of water, 10 times what would be used from a residential neighborhood that would go in there. I'm on a well. I don't want to see that well dry up. I don't want to have to be fighting this company over, you just dried up my well. I'm also live on White Horse Lake. That's a spring. Thank you. That's a spring-fed lake. I don't want to see that lake disappear as some data center sucks up all the water. Despite what has been said, data centers are not really an economic generator for the community that they're in. There are very few full-time jobs. Most of the jobs are in construction. It doesn't bring high-tech people to the industry. My wife works in the IT industry. You can run a data center, 20, 50, 60 full-time employees of this size. You don't get a whole lot of jobs, and it doesn't produce a whole lot of tax revenue for the community, especially if it's been given tax breaks. I haven't seen any mention of that yet by the board. I'd like to know if there's any tax abatements or any breaks that have been given the data centers. There are some laws on the book with the state of Michigan that they give tax breaks. And as people have mentioned, the noise. We don't want to hear that noise here. It's very badly positioned right next to neighborhoods, right next to an elementary school, and I just want to wrap up in saying I'm opposed to this project. I really, truly hope that the board takes all of this feedback that they're getting from residents today and considers it, hears our voices, and then investigates ways that we can oppose and stop the data center from going in. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Larry, and I live in Lyon Township. Before I begin, I want to show you something. Most of the people in this room have not seen these. These are IBM 5081 cards. They were used back in the 1960s. I'd pass them up, but they're going to be worth some money someday. I worked with them with my career, and I worked with hyperscale data systems until I retired in 2013. That means I've been in the field longer most of you have been alive. For over 45 years, I served as an incident manager for the second largest automotive data center in North America. I managed global operations nonstop for decades. I played an active role in migrating data centers from all over the world to our North America center. I know exactly what a hyperscale data center is, what it does, what it takes to keep one running. And that's why I'm saying the approval of a 1.8 million square foot hyperscale data center in a residential community is completely inappropriate. This is not a development, it's an industrial complex. A hyperscale data center is a heavy infrastructure operation that runs 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Never gets quiet, never stops drawing massive power, never stops generating heat, never stops requiring industrial scale cooling. What it brings is constant mechanical noise from the cooling towers that'll be outside, thousands of backup batteries, and large-scale electrical infrastructure. Diesel generators that shake the ground during testing, continuous truck traffic, significant water demand, heat exhaust, light pollution day and night. Putting this next to homes is not a planning, it's an industrial encroachment. The approval process was irresponsible. A project of this magnitude requires, like I said, environmental studies, noise studies, water studies, traffic studies, and once this is all done, don't believe the studies. I was on the planning commission and I know what studies do. They tell you what you want to hear and then they build something else. The commission approved one of the largest data centers in Michigan without understanding what they were approving. This is not due diligence, it's not responsible governance, it's a failure. I'm going to take just a few minutes longer. Michigan has enormous stretches of land for neighborhoods and schools. Hyperscale data centers are routinely built in remote industrial zones for a reason. They do not belong next to people's homes. This decision puts our residents at risk. It will lower your property values, increase noise, strain the electrical grid, increase emergency response demands, permanently alter the characteristic of the community. Once it's built, it cannot be undone or unplugged. Once operating, it cannot be quieted. Once approved, it becomes our problem, not the developers. Should a hyperscale data center, excuse me, I'm going to take just another minute.
We have to call them. We've got so many people standing.
Well, my
up.
wife is here, and then I'd like to take her 3 minutes.
No, that's not, there's no,
We really can't. We have to keep moving.
I've got
this
people
along.
here, I've got some good points here.
Yeah. Well, could you give us the points that you have, and we'll get them answered?
No, never mind, I'll just pass it on to my wife, she'll take my 3
Well,
minutes.
thank you, and I'm sorry about that, but we do have to keep everybody rolling here.
Where did you leave off? Okay, should a hyperscale data center be located near an elementary school? Absolutely not. Best practice guidance is clear. Data centers are high-impact industrial facilities that should be separated from sensitive uses like homes and schools. Like I stated before, they bring continuous mechanical noise, large-scale electrical infrastructure, diesel generators with thousands of gallons of fuel, heat exhaust and light pollution, truck traffic, heavy water and power demand. These impacts are not appropriate next to children. National planning guidance, industry siting standards, and multiple research organizations all point to the same conclusion. Recommended minimum distance from a school, 1 mile. Preferred 2 to 3 miles. Best practice, heavy industrial zones only. Bottom line for Lyon Township, no best practice guideline supports placing a hyperscale data center near an elementary school. National planning organizations recommend siting them away from neighborhoods. Other Michigan townships are already redistricting them to remote industrial zones. My suggestions or requests to the board are simple and firm. Halt this approval immediately, require full independent environmental and infrastructure studies, and scrutinize every word, and then don't believe it. Relocate this project to an appropriate remote heavy industrial zone. Your duty as township officials is to the residents of Lyon Township, not to developers, not to outside corporations, and not to rush decisions made without understanding the consequences. A hyperscale data center of this size does not belong in a residential community or near a school. Not now, not ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for reading that also. That was good. Thank you for that.
I really don't want to follow that. Thank you so much for that information. Now lower your expectations.
We're not going to do that.
My name is Kelly Haynes. I'm a resident of Lyon Township. I'm grateful to be here with our trustees and so many members of our community. I've heard it said that township trustees and our planning commission approve Project Flex because their permitted use aligns with the township zoning ordinances. And that may be true. But when were our zoning ordinances written about and codified? Did data center mean the same thing back then as it means now? Just a few years ago, data centers were modest facilities primarily used for business computing and cloud storage. They were similar in scale and impact to office buildings and enhanced electrical and cooling systems for server racks. However, today's data centers are incredibly different, and that change has happened very quickly. One of the big changes that really doesn't line up is that modern data centers should not be classified as light industrial or general industrial, which is the parcels that Project Flex are classified as. Modern data centers are heavy industrial. Extreme power usage, grid stress, noise pollution from backup diesel generators and cooling, air pollution, water use, environment impacts, health impacts, everything they said, everything everyone has said. Just in the last 5 years, power consumption per rack has increased dramatically. Data racks in 2020, for example, often consume just a few kilowatts of power. Today's AI-oriented equipment regularly demands 30 kilowatts per rack or more, pushing overall data center energy footprints into the range of tens to hundreds of megawatts per campus, which is comparable to a small city. We've talked about some of the water issues, the environmental issues. I understand there's a closed loop system in play that's going to offset some of the water waste, but it will boost the electrical drain. And I don't know if we have a really strong grid already. So I worry about extra drain on it, and I worry about the extra work that's going to have to go into improving the grid for this data center, which the residents awfully bear. And I don't really want to pay for that either. The data centers of 2025 are larger, more powerful, more resource intensive, and more impactful on community infrastructure. That means our zoning definitions, review standards, and planning processes need a review. We need to push back. Just as many U.S. communities, some in our own backyard like Howell, are pushing back. Some municipalities initially allowed data centers in light industrial zones, but backtracked after resident opposition because residents argued that data centers don't fit traditional light industrial definitions. Hamden Township near Harrisburg, residents and local officials voted against zoning changes. Across Georgia, residents have packed meetings and challenged projects, even where zoning technically allows them, because data centers are incompatible with the community character. Indiana counties enacted moratoriums specifically targeting data center development. In Tucson, Arizona, they passed an ordinance requiring large water users, regardless of type, to require water conservation planning. I hope that there's still hope for an official moratorium of some kind. I think we need to review the real impact of the modern data center and whether it aligns.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. Make sure I'm close enough. All right. My name's Ian McCain, and I live here in Lyon Township in the Mill River development. And I kind of wanted to start with the township's own words because I don't think this is about opinion. It's about whether or not you're doing what you said you would do. So when the township updated the master plan to include the vague vision board-like description of modern mixed use, it specifically stated that the land use category was designed for lower impact office, research, and commercial growth. Development that's respectful of its surroundings with minimal truck traffic, noise, odor, dust, and outdoor operations. That was the promise. That's the supposed standard that we've set for ourselves here. But here's the disconnect. The largest facility currently in Lyon Township is 280,000 square feet. Project Flex is 1.8 million square feet. That's more than 6 times larger than anything we've ever built in this community, dropped into a category that literally promises lower impact development. So at some point, words stop meaning what we pretend they mean if we just do something anyway. The master plan talks about office space, research tech, commercial recreation, even housing, uses that transition gently, that fit next to neighborhoods, that don't overwhelm infrastructure. A 1.8 million square foot hyperscale data center does none of that. It doesn't transition, it dominates. It doesn't minimize impacts, it creates them. A massive power demand, industrial cooling, truck traffic, and permanent infrastructure strain. Is the local fire department equipped to handle the emergency fire response to a building that will be the size of 30 super Walmarts? Are the local police equipped to respond to the changes in our community's security threat posture, with data centers now being the targets of potential terrorism threats? Calling this modern mixed use is like zoning for a neighborhood coffee shop and approving a shipping port. You can point to a category, but scale has to be considered, and it breaks the promise. And here's where that permitted use argument sort of falls apart. When computer and data processing was originally written into zoning, it meant modest office scale facilities. Corporate server rooms, small data centers, uses with predictable impacts and incremental infrastructure needs. That assumption matters because Project Flex is not a bigger version of that. It is an entirely different class of development. Lyon Township has 82,000 households, or 8,200 households. This project is projected to require 5 times the total household power demand of the entire township. So if planning means anything at all, it means that you don't approve an airport using the rules for a corner store.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name's Paul Lavoie. Ditto on everything that's come so far. I live on Travis Road. I thought you people would learn from Continental Aluminum. That was enough fiasco shoved down our throat by the fire marshal. You heard all the arguments. I don't think I can add much more. It's the will of the people. Nobody wants it. It's not going to benefit us. It's just going to hurt our infrastructure. And I got to look at the damn thing every time I pull out on Milford Road. I rather look at 1,000 small businesses with more people employed and better looking than an 18 million or 1.8 million square foot building. I mean, why don't they go out someplace and bury it in the ground and run it down there so you don't have to listen to it, smell it, or look at it? But, you know, like I said, ditto on everything. I think it's the will of the people. Elections are coming up in November, and I don't want the damn thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paul.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Navracki. I'm a parent of children who attend Dolson Elementary. I'm also the PTO vice president, which sits directly behind the proposed data center. I'm deeply concerned about the placing of the 24/7 industrial facility next to an active school. Data centers rely on constant cooling system and diesel backup generators. Even low-level noise and air emission can heat and affect children's health, learning, and outdoor play. Schools should be surrounded by safety buffers and green spaces, not industrial infrastructures that introduce additional environmental and emergency risks. I'm not against the development or the technology. In fact, I'm actually a data analyst. But this is the wrong location. Data centers belong in an industrial zone, not directly behind where our children spend 8 hours a day. I'm asking this board to pause approval, request an independent environmental and health impact study, and reconsider the placement of this project. Once a school is built, we protect it. Please do the same for our children and our community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Craig Kreitzberg. I live in the Mill River neighborhood, and with time being short, I'll get right to it. Like many other people in attendance, I'm here to register my staunch opposition to the proposed Project Flex data center, as well as my profound disappointment in the Planning Commission's handling of this matter. To the former, the need for facilities such as those outlined in the Project Flex plan is a conceptually nebulous gray space at best. Arguments can and have been made regarding the critical importance of advancing the computational capabilities required to improve AI and machine learning. I'm not here to vilify data centers. I am, however, overwhelmingly against building any data center so close to residential areas for reasons that have already been articulated on but bear repeating, including the enormous likelihood it will negatively impact power and water infrastructure and the similarly detrimental environmental impacts it would produce. Why? To put it bluntly, I have zero faith in any of the assurances made on behalf of the organizations behind Project Flex that won't cause the types of issues raised here this evening. There are countless examples of large corporations talking out both sides of their faces in these situations. Either it ends up being a, well, we didn't know it would turn out like that platitude, or the consequences are so minimal that it's more advantageous to continue breaking the rules and rolling whatever financial penalties are accrued into a cost of business line item, especially when VERS is only a couple of steps removed and is funded almost directly from Alphabet, Google's parent company. Talk about money to burn. And to my second point, the Planning Commission's handling of this matter. The collective assertion that everything has been handled above board and by the book is either deliberately obtuse or purposefully disingenuous, from the patronizing language of the FAQ you released, to your responses to local media outlets, to the way you reply when citizens voice their concerns to you directly. We followed all the rules we made, so we did nothing wrong, is disappointing and pedantic. As an extension of the Lyon Township local government, the committee's very existence should be to serve the people of this community, not the interests of corporations that have nothing to lose by befouling where we live. Point of fact, the minutes from the Planning Commission's meeting on September 8th of last year when Project Flex was approved call out, and I quote, Treasurer Carcone stated this project is a dream come true for them. Who's them? The people of Lyon Township? Clearly that's not true. The Planning Commission, perhaps? Surely not, as that could somehow imply they stood to benefit from Project Flex, seeing the light of day in ways beyond how everyone else would benefit. Otherwise, why wouldn't they be singing its praises all day, every day, to anyone who would listen? That really only leaves one possibility. Them must refer to Veris and the other business organizations who stand to benefit from Project Flex, which is pretty understandable, really, considering their path to approval seems to have been custom-tailored just for them. So calling it a dream comes true seems like the appropriate choice of words. Too bad for the rest of us. It sure looks like a nightmare. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kelly Sullivan. I'm a resident of New Hudson. Dozens of my neighbors are children who attend Dolson Elementary School, less than a half a mile from the proposed data center site. This board is tasked with reviewing and approving special land uses, which a development of more than 1 million square feet must be considered a special land use. The board is expected to consider whether the proposed development is detrimental to public health, safety, and welfare. The public health impact of this data center on nearby residents, particularly children, has not been adequately addressed. The presence of a 1.8 million square foot data center so close to an elementary school with 450 children and 45 staff members is shocking to me. Data centers are loud due to the constant operation of fans, servers, and backup generators. The persistent hum can extend for miles, including to my house. It impacts residents and it impacts wildlife. This hum can cause sleep disruption, headaches, anxiety, high blood pressure, and decreased quality of life. This is not the optimum learning and working environment for students, staff, and nearby residents. As a retired public school teacher, I certainly would not want myself or my students to work in this building for 1,098 hours every year. Health concerns including asthma, lung cancer, heart attacks, and respiratory infections can be increased in communities with nearby data centers. The plan presented was unclear as to whether they will be using generators, which are a primary source of air pollution near data centers. And this might be a repeat, but it's worth saying. The board has a member named to the Planning Commission as a liaison. During the one public meeting regarding this project, that member stated that the project is a dream come true for the township. It is no dream. It is a public health and resource nightmare and should be paused for further public input and study. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm also a Lyon Township resident. I live very close to the site, so while I am concerned for my family in general, I'm concerned for our home, I'm concerned for our well, I'm concerned for the safety of us in general. I have a very young daughter, and this is honestly terrifying to me. So I'm appealing to you guys from a human standpoint. I'm not here to spew off a bunch of data points because everyone else has that covered and they've done a great job. But from a mom, from someone who's terrified for her family, I beg you to halt this. Do not put this next to our homes. I'm pleading for the children who have no voice to speak up to all of you. Please protect them. They deserve to be protected. They do not need to be put in harm's way. They do not need to be possibly having cognitive deficits, health impactions that could be from this data center. I recently met with a group of researchers that were looking at the Memphis data center, and the statistics were appalling. For every one employee that was employed by the data center, 12 children nearby were hospitalized. 12 children for one job. It's disgusting. And that's going to happen to our community, and I'm terrified for them, so I'm begging you from a human standpoint, put a stop to this. If it was in any one of your backyards, near any one of your children, you wouldn't let this happen, and neither would the commission. So, from a mom, from someone who cares for our community and for our children, please protect them.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Melissa.
Good evening.
I'm a local physician assistant in the community and surrounding Detroit area. I was a lifeguard at Kensington. That land is in my heart forever. There's nature all around. There's community. I'm tired of seeing cancer as a PA, and I can tell you it's increased over the years, and it has a lot to do with everything that surrounds us. there's Oregon doing a study on Amazon and the increase of cancer rates going on there. There's Memphis, as she stated. There's plenty of data out there. But if you care about the community and your members, you will stand up and say no to this. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robert Camion. I'm a proud Lyon Township resident since 2003. I don't live anywhere near this. I live down by 8 Mile in Pontiac Trail where the Kroger's is. But I felt the need to come before you. I don't want to stand in front of you guys and tell you how bad of an idea this is because we've already told you all the reasons why. Forgive me because I don't have anything prepared, but I felt my voice was needed to be heard. I'm sure some of you may have remembered in 2005, we fought against, very similarly like this, against Myers. And to my knowledge, we've been pretty successful, since then. And I want to point out, nobody's mentioned that there's at least 50 people in the overflow and a couple hundred outside who can't even make it inside. I lost my train of thoughts.
Take your time, you're good.
This is obviously something us residents do not want. I do ask of you guys, and I'm literally asking because I don't know, what we were able to do against Myers was, hey, this did not fit in our master plan. So I do not know, does this call and fit into what the Lyon Township's master plan is? What I have heard is that it allows light business up to 100,000 or whatever, 150,000 square foot, and this is like 1.8 or something, which, okay, obviously doesn't fit in. So right there would have to be a rezoning, if I'm understanding that correctly. I guess, that needs to be taken into consideration. I guess the one last point I'd like to make is, and this point was made against Myers as well, and I don't know how well this is going to go over, but I would ask each and every one of you guys to turn around and look at that sign right there, because that's what all these residents, including myself, came to live for something like that. Farmland, green animals, and not a large 2,000,000 or whatever square foot, business. Please do not allow this to happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. My name's Lisa Purvis. I live in New Hudson. I'm here, like most of these people, to comment on Project Flex. The comments from the board so far, publicly available, have been to the effect that you guys are powerless to stop this project. I continue to find it disappointing that when we have a project for the public good, like a library, like public art, there's no hurdle too high, no trick too dirty for you guys to put in the way of it. But when it's a project for billionaire developers, you guys roll out the red carpet, lie flat on the ground, and welcome them in with open arms, and then claim there's nothing you can do to stop it. But I've been up at this podium before, and I already know how this meeting's going to go. Excuse me. You guys are going to deny any wrongdoing. Ms. Carsone's going to cry for sympathy. The rest of this board is going to be either too checked out or too scared to say anything, and nothing's going to change. So what I want to say is to all the people here that nothing's going to change until we change it. So if you've been thinking about running for one of these positions, this is your sign to do it. So there are organizations that will help you run for office if you've never done it before. And I will help you. This room is now full of your campaign volunteers. So we can't go on like this in Lyon Township. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Tom Carter, longtime resident of South Lyon. When I first heard of this, I just went, WTF? Can I say WTF? Everybody said WTF.
You can say that.
And I got to thinking, there's a big multi-million-dollar residential development that's supposed to be going in Coyote. What happened to that? Did they back out or something? Did it fall through? There should be somebody from that organization here representing, say, you're going to kill their development. I mean, there's no way I'd go in there and spend $750,000 on a house next to a data center. This is a rhetorical question. I'd just like to see a raise of hands for anybody who lives within a mile of this data center. That includes you. That includes you. Doesn't look like any of you live within a mile of this data center. That's my point. My point exactly. And a data center, of course, is an abomination. You all know that. We all know that. Nobody's BSing anybody. Okay? I'm just going to close with this. 20 years ago, had a conversation with a friend of mine out by the old fire pit. We're having a beer. I said, Harold was near genius. I said, Harold, what do you think World War III is going to be about? He said, AI. I think it started right here.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Miles Davis. I live in Milford Village, but I share the aquifer and the grid with this potential development. I don't think the grid is up to the task. DTE has not done a good job. My power goes out regularly in the village. Concerning the water, we share the same aquifers. And if you use the water once and dump it, that's terribly wasteful. If you recycle it, you're almost certainly putting things in the water so that it doesn't corrode the pipes. That's standard practice. Nobody's telling you that, and they have to flush them every now and then. Those are two reasons I'm here. I want to share with you guys, I'm on the Milford Village and Township Planning Commissions. So I'm fairly familiar with a room full of people unhappy with me. I just want to share with you guys that even though it feels like you can't say no, you can. And I have. So the pressure is there, no question, but you can say no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Wolverton. I live in the little Venn diagram overlap between South Lyon and Green Oak Township. I grew up in this town, Bakersfield, California, in Kern County. It's an oil and agriculture town, and we had oil refineries about 10% of the size of this center, no closer than 30 miles from my high school. Fewer than 100 students in my high school did not have asthma or bronchitis or some kind of chronic breathing disorder. Given the proximity to both your local as well as the township office itself, I do want to implore you to consider your health and longevity in this decision. The second factor that I want to bring up is that supposedly there's a lot of employment opportunities and growth that comes with this. But anyone who knows anything about the goal process of AI implementation knows that the dispatch of robotics, the dispatch and distribution of robotics is key to what these data centers are being constructed in the promise of. You'll have 200 to 400 short-term jobs for the next year or two, and you'll be prepared to lose about 25,000 more probably per year as a consequence of the implementation of Project Flex, as auto-driving taxis and cars, humanoid robotics start moving in and taking over all of these industries, and all of these manufacturing jobs, all of these delivery jobs that people are leaning on for an increasingly competitive, increasingly steep job market that we're already holding on to by the skin of our teeth. Thank you.
Thank you. You may have to bend down. You may have to bend down. You're pretty tall.
Hello, my name is Carter, and I would first off like to say that I am against the data center and that you represent us. You are supposed to listen to what we say, not the other way around. And I will also say, Mr. O'Neill, when I went to elementary school with one of your daughters, would you be in favor of this data center right behind our, where we like played on the playground? Probably not if that was during this time or the other time, you know what I mean. If anyone on this board after this meeting is in favor of this data center, I would say that you are a failure as a representative and you deserve to be removed from office, and I will run against you. I don't care. I'm 21, I got no experience, but I got a room full of people that will vote for me. They'll vote against you. They don't seem happy. That's all.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name's Josh. I am a 32-year-old husband and father of one, soon to be two. I've lived in the township almost my entire life. I wrote a ton of questions. Frankly, I don't think I could more eloquently express them than the people who came before me, so I'm just going to say my piece. And frankly, I'm kind of discouraged and disgusted with what I perceive to be a disingenuous attempt to slide this project by the residents of this township. The way the proposal was added to the agenda without making any kind of concerted effort, as other communities in Southeast Michigan have done. Van Buren Township, for example, before any kind of review or planning process was commenced, it's discouraging. And if it's such a benefit to the community, if I were you, I'd be up on the frickin' dump hill here at the township park screaming with a megaphone telling everybody what a great thing this is. But instead, we're not. We're all here on January 5th with a room full of people worried about whether this thing is going to go through or not and get built. So that's really all I have to say. I'm frustrated, and I hope that you guys will understand that a young parent doesn't want to see this built a mile down the road from where they live. It's disgusting, it's disingenuous, and I think everybody here agrees with me on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, sorry, I didn't know the time went. My name is Heather McFarland. I live in Milford, and I keep thinking it can't get much worse, and I continue to be proven wrong. When will we stand up and show our youth that corporate greed does not outweigh our right to have a happy and healthy life and environment? The world wonders why our children are depressed. They see nothing but destruction, greed, and selfishness. Rates of depression and anxiety in children and adolescents have been steadily increasing year after year. And adults, amen. And I don't even have children, so if there is even the slightest chance of health risk for anyone, especially children, the answer is no. Because when everything is said and done, who will be sending out apologies to all the parents of the 6 children? Or are we just going to brush it under the rug? Meanwhile, it is 100% without a doubt true that wildlife and nature reduce anxiety and depression significantly. If data centers disrupt wildlife, which is also proven to reduce depression, data centers will disrupt wildlife, which is also significantly proven to reduce depression. Another example, birdsong significantly improve mental well-being, reduce feelings of depression, anxiety, and paranoia. I live in Milford, and I stand with my neighbors of South Lyon by saying this is not right. It would seem that somebody here is getting paid out for this because this is not in the public's best interest. So I'm excited to see where the money is followed to. And our youth deserve better, our planet deserves better, our health deserves better, and we deserve better.
Thank you.
Amen.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Dana Copey. I live here in New Hudson. And I read the minutes from the meeting in September. I was trying to find out some more information, and I was really disappointed to see that nobody had any sort of follow-up questions or just any curiosity about this technology whatsoever. And so I tried to look up more information about this flexible grid platform. And so apparently Veris has successfully demonstrated that this worked back in June of 2025, just this past summer. And it was demonstrated at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. And that is the only test that they did. It was only demonstrated recently. It hasn't been tested to scale. And if you look that study up, there is a disclaimer in there, and it basically absolves this company of all responsibility if anything goes wrong. And so the disclaimer, I'll just read a little bit to you. This document and the information contained, referred to, referenced, or linked to herein is intended solely for informational and discussion purposes and is provided on an as-is and as-available basis. To the full extent permissible by law, Veris disclaimed all representations and warranties of any kind, express or implied, including without limitation any implied warranties of merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose. To the full extent permissible by law, Veris will not be liable for any damages of any kind, including any loss of profits, loss of use, business interruption, or indirect, special, incidental, consequential, or punitive damages of any kind in connection with content, services, products, or any other information provided or otherwise described herein. Veris disclaimed any obligation to provide updates to any information contained in this document or in connection with any related discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask anyone in here, do you want me to turn the heat down a little bit? Is everybody, you want it down? Hey, Dan, could you turn the heat down back in the back? Dan, could you turn the heat down? I'm sorry about that. It's just, it seems like everybody's a little warm.
Thank you. My name is Holly Beckwith, and I am a new resident of New Hudson. I live off of 12 miles, so about a mile away from this proposed project. We moved just over a year ago, and before we were looking here, I was excited to see all of the master planning on the Lyon Township website. I was excited to see the plans to revitalize the downtown area, and I love seeing all of the community events, the events on the Grand, and I just don't understand why a data center would fit the vision that you all have for this community and that downtown area. So I've got 2 young kids, and we just moved here. We've loved it so far, and we're wondering if we made the right decision because of this that's planning to go up. I also, the woman before me, she made the point that I was going to make that I hadn't heard anyone bring up, but this company, Veris, is brand new. They're basically a startup. They have not built one of these before. Their technology sounds great in theory. It sounds innovative. I love that they're focused on sustainability with data centers because they're going to keep going up. So someone needs to lead the way to innovate. But do we want to take that risk and be the first potentially to have that in our community if the technology hasn't actually been proven in another data center? It's a really big gamble that we're taking. So I want to believe that you all have our best interests at heart. I want to believe that you make informed decisions on behalf of these residents. And so to quote Maya Angelou, when you shoot, I had this all lined up. And now I'm do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better. So you know a lot now. Please make better decisions.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Roslinski. I've been a Lyon Township resident for about 25 years. This is not the first time that I've spoken to the board when it comes to things like water. Mr. Dolan, you're smiling at me. Perhaps you remember me. For those of the board that were not here when I spoke, I was adamantly opposed and had a lot of questions to the softening project that was done for the township, in my opinion, hastily, and I hear some giggles, and all of the problems that that caused. We were told to take our softeners offline, and then we saw dozens and dozens of hot water heaters and faucets and things in the trash. As I spoke, and I will say that you guys were very good at continuing the conversations, and I finally gave up. But my interpretation was that you guys rushed to a decision that impacted thousands of residents and homes, and we all spent a lot of money fixing the problems. I still have my softener on. It caked out for a couple of weeks, and I now replaced all my softeners. I bring that all up because a lot of the discussions have been about water. My company, I've worked for 25 years in the chemical water treatment industry. Water is very passionate to me. We have spent millions, hundreds of millions of dollars investing in treating data centers across the globe. And we did that because it's very good business. My company has the word water in it. The reason it's good business is because we put chemicals in it. We treat it mechanically. We make millions of dollars off of treating data centers because of chemicals and the water that they use. So despite the fact that this data center has a closed loop, I know the mechanics that go behind it. We still put molybdenates into that closed cooling water system. We put nitrates. And yes, if there's a leak, all of that's going to go into the water. A mile, somebody give me the data, how far from the school? Thank you, a half a mile from the school. That's going to contaminate the groundwater. Leaks happen all the time. We're in Michigan. Pipes freeze all the time. If the data centers are such good businesses for us because they will not shut down. They will do everything in their power to keep running. So if a pipe breaks, they're going to start pulling more water in, treat it mechanically, water's going in, water's going out. They don't care about the water. They don't care about the townships. They don't care that somebody's well is going to dry up. They don't care. All they care about is keeping that data going, because if that data center shuts down, they lose millions to somebody else, whoever's paying for it. This is all a money game. From a water standpoint, I'm asking you to consider the decisions that you're making and take the time, because the last decision that you guys made for our townships that had to do with water was a really bad decision, in my opinion, and several of the township owners here. So I would ask, if you're going to continue along this path, show us the water data and how much water this is going to. Has there been a water study done? I haven't seen it. I've been looking. I haven't found it. Show us the water data. Show us a study that ensures that our water pressure and our water quality is never going to be less than what it is. We already pay a lot for water. Prove that to us. Show us what the township is going to be impacted. Show us the emergency procedures that this company agrees to when there's a problem and what we can do about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Aaron Reinheimer. I live in Pine Ridge off of South Hill. Okay. And I can't speak to, everyone here has already said the main issues with a data center. My concern is that the energy usage that they are planning for is going to actually, the energy usage is going to exceed that plan. And they're not going to have enough energy. And then what are they going to do? Flex is going to come to you and say, hey, can we put in one of these micro nuclear power plants? And then we're going to have a nuclear power plant in our backyard. Look it up. Look it up. That's the only solution if it uses too much energy. And I don't want, you're not going to put a nuclear power plant, a micro nuclear power plant, within a half mile of Dolson. And to everybody, the last thing I'm going to say is, because I can't comment on everyone else's impacts to the, obviously they've already been said. What I can say is that I have the list of registered voters and their addresses, and if this goes through, every registered voter is going to know that you guys approved it. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nancy. I live in Lyon Township on 12 Mile Road, right at the far end of Milford Road and 12 Mile. My comment is really just this. If you did not know about all of this when you made your decision, then shame on you. And if you did know about all of this when you made your decision, then shame on you. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Ertel. I'm a Lyon Township resident. I was actually here at the November 5th meeting, and I'm going to repeat the statement that I made during that meeting, just to make sure that it's on record a second time. I have some concerns regarding the data center that was approved at the Planning Commission in September. I read through the meeting minutes and found some items that did not necessarily follow the narrative and plans. Some items may have been discussed more thoroughly and not caught in the minutes. These are 6 very large buildings. Once they are built, it will represent 1.8 million square feet. It was mentioned in the minutes that a decision had not been made regarding generators, but as I looked at the plans in the meeting packet from the September meeting, multiple diesel generators are noted in the utility yard associated with each building. I'm assuming these are backup generators and not main source of power for the building. Regardless, they will still need to be exercised on a regular basis and could run approximately 20 to 30 minutes. I appreciate the statement that sound enclosures will be used. Due to the amount of generators and their location between buildings, the sound of the generators may not be as muffled as anticipated. I'm also curious where the diesel will be stored that will power the generators. I see that a closed loop water system will be used. I believe the most common is a cooling tower type system where there are 2 water loops. An open loop that sprays water on coils to cool them, and a closed loop that goes through the water-cooled coils. There will be water usage and evaporation associated with the open loop. While it may be significantly less than an open loop system, there will still be water usage for this process. What is the anticipated usage? Cooling towers will also have a noise factor with the fans that are drawing the heat out of the system. These typically are on the roof, which will help noise carry. I'm also curious regarding the overall power needed for the data center. The plan shows the space for a substation. It is noted that it will be designed later. Have discussions happen with DTE? While there may be substations that provide power for the data center, where is it fed from? Will it be coming through the substation in New Hudson? How will that affect surrounding power needs of the area? Overall, I'm disappointed that something of this magnitude does not need to come to the Township Board for approval. This is a large and impactful project. The potential for new residents in the south of this site and the elementary school will be impacted. I'm also concerned about the discussion that there was at the last meeting about tax abatement. I'm not in favor of granting tax abatements for this development. I know it's still in discussion, but I don't think this will be beneficial to the township services, and the school district. This development will not be adding significantly to the surrounding businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robin Allen, Tyndale Trail. Born and raised in New Hudson. Changed a lot. I'm flat out disgusted how this was brought before the Planning Commission. I would like to know, when was this first brought before the township? Obviously, it wasn't just a few months ago. There's obviously been discussion going on for a long time about this. Another question, why was it called the Flex Plan in the Planning Commission agenda? Why wasn't it called the data center? Even Trustee Enlow, who posts the township's agenda, said he thought it was a typical industrial building. You guys tried to hide this. There's no question about it. And I second. Why Treasurer Carcone said we are so lucky they picked our township? How much in tax abatements are going to be given? Why has there been no public comment from board members? Have you all signed non-disclosure agreements? Is that why? It's been a cover-up from the beginning. Planning Commission members are appointed. Unfortunately, we can't vote them out. But we can vote out the people who appointed those members. There's an election this year. This proposal has been rushed through quietly and approved in one meeting. When does that ever happen? without opportunity for public opinion until tonight. And that's only because you had one DDA board member who went to the news with this. Otherwise, we would not even know about it. Total lack of transparency from this township. Oh, the only thing you guys care about is tax money. That's it. This is another Continental Aluminum all over again.
Hello, my name's Linda Blaine. I live on South Hill Road. I have a little farm and animals that I raise. The data center is an abomination, and I think to say that it is complies with the regulations on according to the master plan, it's absolute. It's like telling your kid they can have a pet and bringing home Godzilla. It's like taking all of South Lyon, condensing it and putting it in a subdivision. You have family homes all around. The normal studies you would do, environmental studies, water studies, noise studies, where are those? It's like, as the other gentleman said, I have read that the mini nuclear plants are being pushed through without regulation now as just the solution for the high energy use of these data centers. Would that be okay? Would you plop down a little mini nuclear plant on in our subdivision? Maybe. Obviously, morals, ethics, rules, regulations, laws, those are gone as far as I can see. And I'm really disappointed for, and something no one else has mentioned, that all this push for AI, the very makers of AI, many of them have come out and said they could threat our humanity. We might be wiping ourselves out as a species, but God damn it, I can spend that money now. And to hell with tomorrow. And that's what I got to say.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth. I live off of Martindale. I oppose the data center. I have a question for the board. What are you going to do with this feedback from the people? What are you going to do with it? Can I get some feedback from you guys? What are you going to do with all this feedback? The answer is no. Very simple. So what is the board going to do with this information?
Everything that we're listening to tonight is going to be talked about in the 22nd meeting that we have coming up. I mean, this is really a great thing for us. We're listening to you. We're writing it down, and we're going to answer all these questions. All these answers.
So we're going to go to the 22nd of January meeting, and we're going to hear the same things over and over.
It'll be back and forth.
Back and forth. Mm-hmm. And so what does that mean exactly? That there's still going to be a chance that data center is going to be built?
They just have to wait till the meeting.
Why? Why can we not hear that today? Why wait till the 22nd if we can hear it today? Why wait? Why do we wait for that, sir?
Okay, this is public comment is not a Q&A with the board
Why not?
members, because that is the rule of the public comment, and that is consistently how it's been applied. Supervisor Dolan made a comment regarding the upcoming meeting, but we've been pausing the time for you, but you can continue your comments.
Well, I have a question for the board. Why that has to be a dialogue? Why couldn't that be a dialogue? So you're sending us to the meeting on January 22nd, and we're going to hear the same thing, and then what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with the feedback from all these people? The overall answer is no. That's the answer. No. Right? You live up in my subdivision, right? You do. So you hear all the feedback.
I do.
And what's the answer? Is no. So there's no going back and forth and not going to a 22nd of January meeting because we're going to hear the same thing. We, the people, have spoken, and the answer is no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you all set up? Hi, I'm Mac. I'm the one that's been running the Facebook pages, and I want you to see my face.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
My name's Mac.
Max, okay.
Mac, M-A-C. And I wanted, you can tell this room is very educated tonight. We have been educating fiercely online. And we didn't have to do a ton of research on our own because all this research is already out there. University of Michigan has been putting it out. We can look at Georgia. We can look at Virginia. There are other townships, other communities, other cities that have lived through data centers. We've already heard about the kids that have asthma issues. Birth defects are now becoming a concern. We're a family township. That's why I moved here with my kids. But there appears to be a lot more education to do, so I'm here to personally invite the board. Our group is having an educational event on January 15th at 7 p.m. at South Lyon East High School. We're calling it Data Centers and Our Community. It's an information discussion. We have 3 experts that were coming to talk. One of them is Prescott Balch. He's a retired tech engineer or a tech executive. He's built these data centers before. He's going to tell you the difference between what our traditional data center is, what we have in Lyon Township and in South Lyon already, and what an AI data center is, and why they're different, why they should be zoned differently. We have Gwen Klenke coming. She's the Midwest Program Coordinator let me get this really quick, I think she's the one that's at Frack Tracker. And then we also have Nicole Biber, who is part of Mid-Michigan Campaign for Clean Water, and she's going to talk about the impacts for clean water. So these are all nonpartisan people. These are all people who have and specialize in data centers and water and conservation and environment. We hope that you'll come. We hope that you'll learn from our event before we attend yours on January 22nd, because we're going to be coming with a lot of questions, and you can already tell the room is angry. We will also be here next week. So anyone in the room, if you want to join me again, I'll be here next week. Yep. Right? And we want to make sure everybody, and it's very clear to the township, we're not happy. And we don't want this going through. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I also live in New Hudson, so I'm kind of just winging this right now, but I was texting one of my friends who lives in the UP, and they have a Bitcoin mining up there, which you might not know, but it's similar to an AI data center. Both are high energy, intensive operations that rely on high performing computer infrastructures. They both make a humming noise. There is one in Brimley, Michigan, that's in the UP, Eastern UP. I went to school up there in Superior State, so it's kind of home to me. I know you did too. Just by looking at you, I know you went. The school up there is actually shut down outdoor recess because of the constant humming is bothering the children. They constantly, you can look it up. It's online. I mean, you can call Brimley Schools. The name of the place is Lake Superior Academy. They actually have halted putting on a new addition for 40 new incoming students because the noise is so abrupted and disrupted to the kids that are there now that they are stopping growing their community because of the noise. And they're actually doing a lawsuit against the company that is there now doing the Bitcoin mining. And if you look at what theirs looks like, it's not even that big. It's not a 1.8 million square foot facility. So my concern is I will have 3 young children at Dolson soon. One is in there now, and I am very concerned about the noise, the recess. My kid loves going out for school. Recess, every day they go out, okay? No matter what. I think that's wonderful. Not a lot of schools do that. What are we gonna do? I know you have the noise, the noise study coming, all that stuff, but what's going to happen if they say, oh, it's only this and it's not? Just like how they did up in Brimley. They said, oh, it's this and it's not. My concern is we really need to look into that for the children. I care, if you want money and all this stuff, find a different location. I think it's really important for the kids of this community to go to a safe school where they're not disrupted daily by a constant humming. Sleep disruptions, migraines can all be caused by being close to this vicinity. And I'm very concerned for my children, and I am honestly considering moving. And I love this town, I love this city, this area. I am considering moving and taking my children from this environment because this is horrible. I cannot have my child, and I know a lot are with me, A lot of other parents are with me. They don't want their children going to a school that has a constant humming. You think of the kids that are disrupted there. It's not good for the environment. It's not good just in general to be behind a school. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Eric. I live in Orchards Alliance. I'm very against this, mostly because of the proximity. I do think data centers have to be built. I've worked in the industry for 20 plus years, helped build data centers for 15 years. It's something that's mind-boggling to me that you would put this close to houses, to schools, to a new sub that you fought over for years, to even tear down the golf course and put houses there. I think 175 now, and this was approved, and it seems like overnight. I don't know how long you worked on it. I don't know what was going on in the discussions, the negotiations of where to put it, or why it was allowed to be zoned there. But I want to paint a picture. Take Ford Field, 100-yard football field, right? That's going to be probably each one of these buildings, if not bigger. One side of it, cooling units. Fans blurring all day, no matter what. They're not going to turn off. They're going to run day and night, all day, on the entire length of the building. Each building. Other side of that building is going to be diesel generators, all the way down. I don't care what they say. They cannot have enough batteries to handle a power outage. The batteries are there to switch to diesel. So when that happens, it's going to be way louder than 80 decibels, blaring the entire time the power is out. And the power's been out pretty consistently in this area, on and off. It does go out quite a bit. Outside of that, I look at, okay, maybe there's going to be a couple hundred people, as people said, to build this facility. I've been at these facilities, like I've said. Maybe a person's in each building. Maybe there's a grounds crew that's out there working. You're talking maybe 20, 30 people at max, at most, once this thing is fully operational and running. Now you're going to have companies coming in and dropping their gear off, but that's not the people that work there. They're going to ship in someone like me, and they're going to go and install the gear. They're going to put it there. They're going to go back home to where they live. That's not going to be the people of this neighborhood or this community that are going to be doing that. And that's my concern. Outside of everything else, what does it bring to the table? Noise, pollution, the diesel generators. If something happens and it goes into the ground, does it affect our water? Yeah, it will. Let's not lie. It's going to happen. At one point in time, diesel is going to get dropped into the ground. They're not going to clean it up. Outside of that, too, all the commitments that they're making on the new efficiency standards, the clean energy, it's only going to get worse in the data centers. They're going to need more power. Things are going to get smaller and smaller and more efficient, and they're going to draw more and more power to do it. So while they might have a level of power usage that they're committing to now, it's just going to increase. And then that just means more diesel generators, more cooling fans, and then outside of that, the water. I know I got 9 seconds. Thank you. Vehemently opposed.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hello. Good evening. Hello. My name is Karen Comise. One thing I'm fairly struck by is you've had one positive commenter here, and he's gone. He came in his suit, he spoke first, and he left. And here's a community coming together to say no. My son attended Dolson at Centennial, and now he's at South Lyon East. Our family chose this district very intentionally, and we deeply value the education and community that South Lyon provides. South Lyon is a strong family-centered district. Over the past 10 to 15 years, this community has experienced such significant growth that we had to add Pearson Elementary School and grow as this community grew. The construction is a clear example of the success the South Lyon has put towards growing this community. And families are moving here and investing here and raising our children here. The growth also brings responsibility. Decisions that you make now will shape South Lyon for decades, not just years. This is why I'm concerned about the proposed data center. I'm against it. The data center does make sense somewhere away from this community, farther on the outskirts, away from the schools, away from the children, away from your new neighbors. This project does not align with the plan of South Lyon. As was pointed out before, this is a farming community. This is a downtown community. These are people who are coming together for Pumpkin Fest. Not anymore. This offers limited local employment. It places heavy demands on infrastructure and introduces consequences long-term that are extremely difficult to reverse. You know this, you've heard this, and we keep hearing it over and over. This project threatens the very things that make South Lyon desirable. People want to be here because of the family-focused neighborhoods, because of the strong schools that we have, the careful, intentional planning that has happened. Meyer isn't here. And a sense that places value on people over short-term gains. Once land is committed to use like this, there is no easy way to roll it back. We risk undermining the character of South Lyon, the community, the families, including mine, who've chosen to be here. I want to make it clear. This is not an opposition to progress. It is advocacy for the right kind of progress. South Lyon has grown because it has made thoughtful, value-based decisions. This is a moment to continue that tradition. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that you plan well.
Good evening. I have just a small thing. So my name is Jonathan Wolf. I was born and raised in this community. I'm here to strongly oppose this data center project. This is not a small project. It's massive, and it's a permanent industrial facility. It's 2 million square feet, almost, that residents only just recently learned about. After it was conditionally approved. So for a project of this scale that lacks transparency, it's unacceptable and has seriously undermined public trust. Data centers place extreme demands on water and energy systems. Lyon Township and New Hudson regularly loses power. So like others have said, we are going to be dealing with the diesel engines making loud noise that we all get to deal with. But my biggest concern, my family has been here for almost 3 decades. My parents are on the verge of retirement, okay? And this, something that not a whole lot of people have I heard talk about today, is the financial impact that puts on the homeowners here, okay? It's been noted that this decreases property values for the people around it. And my biggest concern is, what does that do to the citizens that live around here that are looking forward to retirement, and one of their biggest investments, their home, is now drastically losing value. So that's all I've got for you guys tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, my name's Mallory. I am a new resident of Lyon Township. I recently moved into Crystal Creek South. So one of the newer developments here. The main reason why I wanted to speak, I had no plans of speaking today. I just wanted to see if everyone felt the same way I felt about this, and it's very clear that we do, was that I offer a new perspective. I can speak to why I came back to Michigan from Nebraska and why I moved to South Lyon instead of Canton, where I grew up. South Lyon's a small community. All these people here, all my new friends. So, I mean, I don't know a lot of people here yet, but I know that I moved here for a reason. I brought my children here. I have young children that will go to Pearson Elementary. And while it's not Dolson, it's not a half mile away, I'm still within 3 miles. And I'm very angry that I just spent the amount of money I spent on my house to have this built 3 miles from my house. I woke up and saw the article. I'm new here, so I'm sorry I didn't attend all your other meetings. And the first thing I said to my husband was, you need to get a relocation and we're moving away. I don't want to be here 3 miles from a data center, and none of these people want to be 3 miles or less from a data center. Everyone here is unhappy. I live in an area where I still can't even get cell phone service in my neighborhood. I can't get cell phone service at my kid's school. The school's across the street from me. I can't get cell phone service at the school. My electricity has gone out more times since I've moved to South Lyon than it has in my whole adult life. I lived in Nebraska. There's not much in Nebraska, guys, but I had a lot better electricity. So I just want to point out that, like, from a new perspective, from someone who's 3 miles away and just moved to your community, I love this community. I love these people here, but I am vehemently opposed to this data center, and I speak on a lot of my neighbors who are also very unhappy, are watching tonight, and are very unhappy about this prospect that we just invested a lot of money in this community and that there's opportunity for this data center. So we are vehemently opposed to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Frank. I lived in the community pretty much my whole life. I'm asking all of you to stand your vote down and let the people vote, put it on a ballot, and let us decide. I don't like just you making the decision for all of us. If you want to know what we feel and what your community wants, please put it on the ballot. That's all I'm asking. If you don't, that's a coward way to handle it. I realize we don't have to rezone, but put it on the ballot, please. Let us decide. I'm not comfortable with you guys deciding anything for my family and what I work for.
Thanks. My name is Casey Kreitzberg. Excuse me, this thing's already making me sick. My brother Craig spoke earlier, and my brother Craig is an English major. What that means is I understood half of what he said. Now, I am a marketing major, which means I have to keep things very simple. So if I were to take a roundabout number of people that have shown up here tonight, I'd say there's probably 200. One of us has voiced support for the project. 1 out of 200 is 1/2 of 1%. If you extrapolate that sample size to the entire base of voters in this community, it's overwhelmingly a voice against this project. So I said as a marketing major, I have to tap into how people feel. Brian, as planner, Patricia, as a liaison to the Planning Commission, I'll give you 2 minutes to sell the dream of why 99.5% of the people feel the wrong way about this project. And if not, you need to issue an immediate moratorium on the project. Thank you. Thank you.
So several other points have been made, so I don't want to repeat a lot of those, but one that I haven't heard come up, some news stories coming from the recent data centers associated with Meta and Amazon in Ohio have linked the data center to higher rates of cancer almost immediately within the community. Levels of nitrates within the water supply, even within a closed loop system, have had immediate health effects on the local population. There was Bitcoin was mentioned earlier. It was kind of a precedence to this whole AI and data center thing. It's a very similar technology. And when that boom was happening, when Bitcoin mining was the next big thing, quick and trendy, they came in making promises to all these towns, revenue, businesses, tax. They were going to bring the world with them. And when that went up, almost as quickly, they left towns holding the bag. They had cleanup costs, they had cleanup projects, broken promises, and these towns were destroyed. Not just Brimley that was mentioned earlier. There are towns all over Texas, Tennessee, Maine. Dozens of towns had problems with these data centers that were much smaller than what they are now. These are now hyperscale, and they're going to cause bigger problems. These also do not bring any economic benefit, contrary to what the first gentleman said. These are not high-skilled, high-paying white-collar jobs. These are not technical development centers. These are not engineering. They're just maintenance. They maintain this center. These centers do not attract other commerce. They do not attract other business. They do not bring anything else into, in fact, what everyone has been saying, they repel any kind of new business. So they don't deserve any kind of tax abatement if they're not going to drive any kind of economic benefit to the town. And last, I'd like to make a request to the board. If this has to wait for the January 22nd meeting, I understand, but since your job is to represent the best interests of the township and the residents who are all here speaking their minds, I believe we deserve a detailed, accurate accounting of how Veris approached the township, who was contacted, how it got on the Planning Commission, what business dealings any of you have had, any conversations any legal documents or any agreements that any of you have with Veris or any of the interested parties in this data center. We deserve to know where your interests are in representing us, or are you representing them?
Thank you.
I don't have eloquent words like some other people do. But it is an embarrassment to everyone in this community that when you were approached, you did not laugh them out of the room. I find it interesting that at this meeting, where you have an incredible amount of public input and outcry, have you ever had a meeting this well attended?
Probably not.
No? I feel like
No, we
that's an answer. You don't have a listed agenda item for this, even though clearly the public wants you to talk about it. But you do have an agenda item for your raises. That's what's next, correct? I am not only opposed to the data center, I am also, and I want this recorded, opposed to you increasing your salary.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, board members, people of Lyon Township, people from New Hudson, Milford, South Lyon. My name is Sheena. I am a resident of South Lyon. And as one of the last people to speak, I'd just like to reiterate everybody's public sentiment. And it's extremely negative. As somebody who's lived here for a few years, I can see that the significant detriment that this would bring to the people of South Lyon overwhelmingly outweighs any benefit that it could possibly bring. And as people on the board, I believe that you should have some type of respect for that, some type of cognizant awareness of that, and the fact that people really do not want this. I have a question for Veris. Now, as everyone knows, data centers use up a lot of water. So, I mean, every single data center goes through an extreme amount of water pressure bottlenecks. So how do you plan on dealing with that? I mean, are you just going to keep pumping water upon water? 150,000 gallons of water is not a significant amount to overcome water pressure bottlenecks. So if Veris is planning on doing that, which, by the way, 150,000 gallons of water is what 450 to 600 people use in one day, which is how much they would need to use in order to keep up with their water pressure bottlenecks. So if you plan on doing that, how often are you going to treat the water? How often are you going to make sure that no corrosive chemicals, no hazardous chemicals are being put into our water supply, our groundwater supply that all of us use? Who's going to pay for that? So not just the utility cost, the water pollution, the air pollution, the detriment to our home prices. I mean, no one's going to want to live here anymore. You have Pulte building homes across the road. They're not going to want to build anymore. I mean, I'm sure your home prices are going to go down. Mine's going to go down. I don't want that. Let me ask you something. Wouldn't it make more sense to avoid all of this? Build this somewhere where no one lives. Why do you want to build this here? I wouldn't want to. The reasonable person standard in law is spoken about frequently. People do not do things that have a significant detriment to society. Where it outweighs any benefits, it has more risks. You are bringing on severe liability as the board. You're bringing on health risks, detriments. People are emotionally and mentally traumatized, right? And the way you brought this was not respectable as a board. It was very irrespectable, actually. I mean, I think there's always a positive and a negative, because now we have 21-year-olds who are ready to stand up and stand against you, and it's beautiful to see that, because you are uniting a community against something that they really do not want. And as somebody whose career is starting out, I want to say that this is not something we want to see, and we really do hope that you reconsider, because the community is not for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lori Ann. I am a Lyon Township homeowner, and just like everybody else, very upset. I even brought my 12-year-old here so he could witness this, because he's going to be fighting for this for the rest of his life wherever he lives. And it's really, really sad. But what nobody has brought up is what happens when they do cause damage. They're going to freaking bankrupt. They're going to go bankrupt. They're going to sell all their assets. They're going to restructure, declare pay, they're going to walk away. And who's going to be left to pay for it? Us. Not everybody has the privilege. Just get up and move. Like, some of us have to stay in our homes. Like, we can't just get up and leave. Can't get up and move. So we're going to be stuck here. And we're going to be stuck with everything and everything. They're just going to leave because it's been done before. Big corporations caused harm to many communities, and they just leave. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan, and I live on Thistle Lane here in New Hudson. I came tonight to register my opposition to Project Flex. I'm also so proud of our community for showing up tonight to voice our collective concern about this. As many have already mentioned earlier, the electricity and water supply here are already questionable at best, especially during the summer. You guys are happy to continue to approve more and more banks, car dealers, fast food, more and more homes, but no actual community services like parks, playgrounds, community gathering spaces, or things that would benefit the residents and families that live here. We can't even get a sidewalk on Milford Road for us to safely walk children to school or access the bike trails from where I live. I've been a resident here for nearly 8 years, and my husband and I moved here before we even got engaged. We moved here with the intention of raising our family here. We now have a young daughter who would be going to Dolson if we choose to stay. If this data center is built, I know that we will be leaving, no questions asked. So I really hope that you guys all consider your current approval of this project, because clearly tonight has shown that this is not good for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Talon Harvey. I live on Apple Lane, and I've lived here for 25 years. I've invested in my house. It's the only thing I have of value. And when I retire, hopefully in 10 years, you have now just dropped the value of my home $200,000. There's literally 2,000 homes within the 3-mile radius. And the lady that spoke earlier, she's actually only 2 miles from it, and her home is about $1 million. If you take $200,000 times 2,000 homes, that's $400 million that just disappeared from this public, taken from us by this stupid decision. This data center is not a light industrial like that could be considered zoned for. It is a heavy industrial. It has toxic noise. It damages the environment. It takes a lot of power. This is not a light industrial just doing a few tests in a test bay. This is serious, big thing, and it doesn't really belong in the middle of a community that has a master plan not to have heavy industrial in the middle of it. Not only that, my water supply, on our street, I live on Apple Lane with the house, is only 20 feet deep as my well. And in the wintertime, it's only 10 feet deep. If this dumps any time, any kind of wastewater damage waste, my well is damaged permanently. My water, I wouldn't have water for my home, which makes my home worthless, which means I will sue the frickin' township for the value of my home. In addition, to get public water to my home and a sewer system line, they've already told us, the township, it'd be $100,000 to bring it to my home and everyone on my street. We don't have $100,000. That's another $100,000 out of my pocket because somebody decided to come in and put a property in that doesn't benefit us in any freaking way. So I just feel like we're being raped by this. My entire livelihood of my home and my investment in this township is being taken from me, and I had no say in it. And I am freaking mad.
Thank you.
My name is Allison Ronish. I am a City of South Lyon resident. I'm opposed to the data center. None of us want to become sick. None of us want our kids to become sick from water pollution. And like the other speaker said earlier, children near another data center are unable to play outside at school because the humming of the machines is hurting their brains. I'm going to say that again. They are not able to play outside at recess because the humming is hurting their brains. That is dystopian. And it's not just an annoyance. Look it up. Noise pollution can kill people. It can lead to heart disease. You need to care more about us than some data center that nobody wants, that will not make our community better. You are the stewards of this community. Please do your job. Say no to this data center. You guys can change your mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Jim Cruz. I'm a proud resident of Lyon Township for 40 years. I've only been to 2 meetings here where I've seen this kind of turnout. One was for the orchard, when the decision was made to change the orchard, and this one. I would like to see more people stay involved. Don't just get involved, stay involved. I came to your meetings for the Planning Commission and for the board for 3 years. Many nights I was the only person here. Stay involved. You're upset, and I understand it. I'm against this project as well. But next year, it'll be something else. And the year after that, it'll be something else. Stay involved. You got involved today, so stay involved. What I would ask the board to consider, I know it doesn't go before you because of the way that it fits the zoning ordinances. The ordinances need to be changed, number one. Number two, this is not a decision that should be made by 6 appointed people and 1 elected official. This is a decision that should be made by the public that owns this community, and that's all of us. Put it on the ballot. There's an election in November. You have an attorney sitting there. I know what your concern is. Your concern is you're going to get sued by Walbridge, or you're going to get sued by the company that's wanting to build this thing. Well, you know, you might be faced with a situation where it's either you're going to get sued by one of them or you're going to get sued by all of us. Yeah. So pick your poison. You were elected to represent this community. I know that you're between a rock and a hard place because it's not coming before the board, but you're still our elected officials. You are all we have. We don't have any other voice. You are it. So speak up. Talk to your attorney. Find a way out of this dilemma that you've conditionally approved something that nobody wants. Hundreds of people gave up their evening to come here to talk to you. Take that to heart. That should mean something. I was at your meetings when you begged for involvement. Well, you got it. Now listen, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amy Lovrich. I live on 11 Mile in Milford. And just a couple little things. I've been crossing off things off my list as everybody's brought them off. But just to let you know, I live in a condo sub, and I can't even have a generator in my front yard if my power goes out. But I'm going to listen to a data center run 24/7. Our subdivision was told by the city that we have to water our lawns at night in the summer because of the drain on the water. What are you going to do when that fires up? When are we going to water our lawns? Are we going to have water to water our lawns? No. The price of my house is going to drop. And I'd love to know if the builder on Coyote, which I was under the understanding, I came for a meeting for that there were 600 houses or more going in there. And we were getting a 6-acre free clubhouse, which is going to be right up against the data center. And I'd like to know if their lawyers could help us out to fight you on this, because they're going to lose big time. Your traffic study, I hope it's not going to be done at the same time you did the traffic study for that 680 homes going on Milford Road, because you did it in August, during the summer months, when everybody's on vacation and school's not in. Because if you've ever tried to get down Milford Road when that school's getting out and you're dying in your car, they're not going to get an ambulance to you because it's a parking lot all the way past the 5-way split. So do your traffic study at the correct time. And I don't know, I saw a post I'm so thankful for the gentleman that was on the DDA that put it out there. And I went to work, and I could not believe the information that's out there, not just from Michigan, but from Arizona and all over these data centers that have been here and running, and the destruction they have caused. In 5 minutes, I had so much information that I can't believe you guys haven't seen this information. And you're still saying, let's go for it. This information is bad. It's out there. You just have to click a few buttons. There was a woman from Mason, Michigan. I couldn't even absorb the information she put out. She had links to all these different things. Well, all I know is I already have tinnitus, and I don't need to listen to more humming.
Thank you.
My name's Andy Fletcher. I live in New Hudson. I grew up in New Hudson. My dad grew up in New Hudson. My grandfather grew up in New Hudson. My daughters grew up in New Hudson. I'd like to see my grandchildren grow up here, but they're not going to be living anywhere near this thing. This is just silly. Things you can read about that, just by snapping your fingers you can find out so much bad. I can't believe any of you guys even looked into this at all. One bit. It's bad. Most of them did.
Thank you. Somebody got a pink phone? All right, pink phone.
That's mine.
There you go.
Thanks.
Steve Emsley, 51824 8 Mile. Good evening. I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. The people you appointed or you neglected to update the data center zoning, even in light of Selene and everything going on in this universe, for the last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, nobody bothered to say, hey, we should probably update that so that doesn't happen legally zoned in our township, unless, of course, you wanted it. So I've got either we're inept and we didn't look at the world around us, or we want this thing. So the people you appointed, if they're the ones responsible for updating that ordinance, they should all be gone. Patty, you should resign. Like, your words on this, your words are absurd. I love this. Look, I'm not a big data center hater. This is the same thing I've always come to you guys with, incompatible land use. You're going to put this thing, now you get to have your horse and pony show on 522, and you get to go, look, they're going to sue us, it's within the zone. Like, there's not a good legal argument. The only way that you save yourself from recall and you save what these people need is to talk to better attorneys than what you have without hiring them illegally, that you talk to better attorneys and you find something. Your job is to work for them to find something and not give them a dog and pony show on 522 that says, this is so glorious, and you only get to talk at us. We won't have a conversation. We don't do that kind of thing here. I've been here a long time. I've been getting the same answers a long, long time. It's kind of a joke. So no, you need to go. You need to get attorneys. You need to find if you can get out of this, because I think the simple answer is we already signed off with one board vote and a bunch of people that you all appointed unanimously, correct? Correct. So it's time for the 30-year runs of we don't even look at Selene and get scared. That didn't scare anybody and be like, wow, we should really take a look. You said we can't have a weed dispensary. Not that I'm a weed guy, but we can't have that. It took you one meeting to be like, whoa, there's weed, get out. All right, so that took you one meeting to do that. One meeting. You got data centers all over the country. These people are brilliant. Like, I used to come up here 12 years ago, you'd hear the same thing. This township is brilliant. And they've come up here and they've told you everything. I know you're kind of screwed by the idea of your zoning laws. Get some lawyers, put up a fight, do something, make a deal. Because now you set a precedent too. What's Coyote going to say? Are we going to put houses next to this? No, Coyote going to come back to you and be like, we want one of those too. We want that data center too, because you just set a precedent. So I don't know if they're zoned, I don't know what their story is, but I know about precedents in Lyon Township. Anyway, you all really, really smart people. Keep the fight up. Some of these guys, they got to go. I've been here a long time.
Hi, my name's Stephanie Folk. I live over at 459 Gaylord Street, over in one of the local mobile home parks. Anyways, my question would be, what about the seniors in this area? What about the people in the mobile home communities that cannot afford this? And also, what about people on assistance or even with low-paying jobs? That's my question. And no, I'm opposed to it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Robert Cajal. I had no plans of getting up here when I came. I just come from an observer. Everybody who spoke has been emotional, and I commend you. I'm just going to be logical, okay? The aquifer right there at the corner of the 5 stops is polluted from the business on the corner. When they start moving that type of water underground to AI Center, they're going to frack into that, causing all of our aquifers to be polluted, okay? There's your out, right there, okay? Now I'm going to give the answer for the AI centers. Perfect. They need the grid, they need water, and they need land. You have all these big cities where business has moved overseas, and all that exists. Flint has a brand new water system. Go tap into it. They can't drink the water. Use their grid. It's all there. You got an out. Here you go. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Dina Spera. I live on 12 Mile, just on the other side of Coyote. I did not come here to talk because I absolutely hate doing this, and it makes me nervous, and I don't like doing it. But after listening to all of my neighbors and friends, and I just wanted to also get up here and say how much we are against this. First, I'd say this room has been packed, but there were so many people that could not get a parking spot. I guarantee you there would be twice as many people here in opposition to this if there was adequate parking here. I know that you guys talked about the meeting on the 22nd. I also believe that that will probably just be a regurgitation of information that comes from the developers who want this to pass. So I don't have a lot of hope for that meeting, but I have a few asks. What will the noise testing validate? Does it analyze varied situations? Does it take into account the diesel generators when the power goes out? Who does the testing and who pays for it? Because we all know that when someone pays for testing, they usually get the answer they're looking for. I'd like to see analysis of what the data center meant when the zoning was put in place, saying that a data center was allowed versus what this data center is. What was it like in that day and age versus what it is now? What will the data center do to our home values? What is the township what analysis are you going to provide to us of what that's going to do to our home values? Those homes that are going to go in on the Coyote development, they're not going to be worth what they would have been, and that's going to affect my house value and everyone else in this room. Yeah, and I also, just another thing from an environmental aspect, I mean, this technology will be out of date in 18 to 24 months, and then they have to redo all of that. It's so much electronic waste. Like, where is that going to go? Who's going to take care of that? I really hope that you guys can find a way to listen to your constituents and listen to the people that live in this country, in this community, because we don't want this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Andrew Nieder. I live in Milford and 12 Mile, so this hits pretty close to home, obviously. I'd like to offer a perspective of a mechanical engineer. I've been an engineer for 15 years now. I've had to do more due diligence to move a bolt from Taiwan to the United States than what I've seen for this data center, and that's pretty concerning to me. The other perspective I'd like to offer is I was born in Hinckley, California. I don't know if you guys know the significance of that. Have you seen the movie Aaron Brockovich? Yeah. Go back and watch that movie and then tell me if you really want this data center. I'm just concerned with long-term health, and if we can see those reports, then I might have a different perspective, but for right now, I just don't. So on record, I'm against this. Thanks.
Thank you.
You know me. Your lawyer doesn't, though. My name's Amy. I just have one question. I'm not here to bash the board. I know it didn't come up to you. Came up to the Planning Commission. I understand now it goes up to engineering. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I just hope at the informational meeting on the 22nd, that we get an explanation of like what is the next step, and that your lawyer is there and can tell us what the alternatives are, and if there is anything we can do about this in the first place. That's all I had to say.
Thank you.
My name is Julianne, and I live in the Mill River subdivision at 12 Mile in Milford. So this will be basically across the street from my subdivision. I'm pretty sure none of you would want to live across the street from this, and neither do I. Many people have talked about the impact on children. The last time I was before this board, which some of you were here, some of you weren't, was opposing the gun range that you approved less than 1,000 feet from where children play at Dolson Elementary. This is not miles away from Dolson. If you look where the children play on the playground, it's going to be within probably 1,000 feet. All you have to do is cross the rail trail and it's on the other side. So very close. Yes, when you look at the address, it seems like it's a mile or more, but it's not. So if your children, and looking at some of the gray hair like I have on this board, grandchildren, were to go to Dolson, or let's say the 2 daycares that are right outside of Mill River, would you be comfortable with them playing outside for what, recess is 30 to 45 minutes twice a day? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be happy with your children or grandchildren playing outside at their homes. And your treasurer, Patty, I had a conversation in regards to Continental Aluminum when our subdivision was having issues with their pollution of the air. They were not following ordinances, and everyone just threw up their hands. What you promised to me on the phone was you would protect our subdivision, that there may not be things that you could do then and there, but in the future, you would change the ordinance so that if they moved out, no one like them could move in. So what'd you do across the street? This is definitely nothing like Continental Aluminum. It's 1,000 times worse. So I'm extremely disappointed. In this township, your infrastructure is a shit show. I mean, electricity, we lose it all the time. Water, in 2019, my bathtub had green water. Supposedly you've improved upon that. What's going to happen when 500,000 gallons of water is used? Cell service, lose power, can't get cell service at my house. Environmental impact. The infrastructure of the roads can't even begin to describe how bad that is. And you point fingers back at the road commission. So take responsibility and listen to your constituents.
Teresa Danielson here. I used to live on Pineview Court. A lot of you remember me fighting against Continental and other issues over the years. My husband grew up in South Lyon, was second in state for South Lyon wrestling. And I lost my husband because of all the years we spent smelling Continental Aluminum. I'll bet you 10 to 1 that goddamn drain behind our home, because we had the 20 acres behind us, I'll bet you there's so many chemicals in that drain, it would make a lizard turn pink. It wasn't right that you're making all these things to hurt people. I miss my husband. He's gone. I can't bring him back. And I had Radicata Holly out there. I had all kinds of people from Lansing, environmental, to our home. I said, I will provide you lobster, whatever the hell you want to eat. You can stay in our camping trailer. It was very nice. I will accommodate you with beer, wine, whatever. Smell what we smell at 2 o'clock in the morning when I have to let my hunting dogs out. I miss my husband. That's not fair. These people are going to go through the same damn thing and lose their family members. Think Come on, you're civilized human beings. I'm very disappointed.
Thank you. Does anyone else like to come on up?
I'd like to come on again.
Well, we can't do it twice. Thank you, though. I mean, I'll tell you, it's nice to have everyone show up like this and give us your concerns, because it doesn't happen often enough. It would be nice to have everybody participate. Like Jim said, I ask constantly to have participation. People come on up and talk to us and get involved a little bit.
Didn't ask for this
To me,
project.
pardon me?
Didn't ask for this project.
That's okay. But you know what, though? You know, I'm going to close call to the public because I shouldn't be talking like this. But what I want to say, we don't bring these things to our township. We do have to vet them. And we're going to put all these questions and concerns that you guys have had today, which is, like I said, it's been wonderful. We'll put them into questions and we'll get them all answered for you. I mean,
But is it gonna do any good?
well, we're going to answer the questions. We have to go through the process.
You're gonna answer our questions, but is it gonna be what
Well,
we
let's-
want, or is it just gonna be fluff
Put it on the ballot.
that we can't believe?
Let's see what happens, okay?
We'll see what happens. Just put it on the ballot, let the community decide.
There's too much history on these things.
Secret, because you didn't want to.
Okay, well, we can't let this get out of control. I'm going to tell you right now, everybody in this room has been very, very nice. I know that emotions are running high, and I thank you for coming to the microphones and talking to us and not getting out of control or crazy, because that's what it takes. It takes a conversation. And I want to thank you all for that, and I want to thank you for coming. I really do.
When is the final decision?
That, I can't answer that. Again, all of that will be in that meeting on the 22nd. We'll have all that stuff answered. It's all in process.
We'll be here.
Okay. Appreciate that.
That means we're just gonna go there and it's already approved?
We don't
Hands up and say nothing.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Yeah, let's take a 5-minute recess, please. Maybe 10. We're going to take a 10-minute recess so he gives you bathrooms and... Where's Lisa? We'll wait for Lisa.
She's coming right now. Heading back.
Okay.
It's coming right now.
All right, we're going to reconvene the meeting and move on to our reports period. Amy?
Speak loudly since we handed over.
Oh, you want it back?
I can speak loud, don't worry about it. I will keep it short. Since our last meeting, I just wanted to let you know that we've had the opportunity to attend and run the Lighting Up the Grand event, which happened in December. The cold weather did keep our crowds down a little bit, but we still had pretty good participation, so we were happy with that. Our holiday market was well attended again this year. We were very happy with the expanded footprint of that. Thank you to April, who was our chair for that. The tubing slide was very successful again. And I just wanted to send a special thanks to, we had over 40 volunteers helping out that day between high school students for National Honor Society Key Club and some of the residents that were in the area that stepped up to help out. We really appreciate it. We are working on collecting year-end data so we can have an infographic for you at the February meeting, determining and showing how many businesses were involved, both in the DDA and in the greater Lyon Township area, how many volunteer hours were put in for the DDA, so I should have that for you at the next meeting. Right now, we're working on putting together our fourth quarter reporting for Main Street, Oakland County, and also working on our accreditation evaluations for Main Street America. We also had, we're working on a schedule for our 2026 DDA events and meetings that we'll be able to publish within the next month. And today was the official first day for our social media and marketing manager, Angie Hunt, who was hired. She is job sharing with the DDA and the township so that we can utilize her to feature more stuff online through social media and help us out in making sure that we're sharing everything that's going on in the community. And we have coming up soon on Tuesday, February 3rd, we have a first quarter networking event scheduled. The time and location are still to be determined. But that's being put on by our Economic Vitality Subcommittee. Our Design and Appearance Committee meets tomorrow. We'll be discussing our strategic projects for 2026, and we'll also be putting out some information on sponsors for some of our projects, including the downtown decorations, flower pots, corner displays. And our promotions committee will be meeting this Thursday. We'll be going over our event schedule for 2026. And after the 10 o'clock or after the 9 o'clock meeting, we are inviting volunteers. If they're interested in helping us, we're going to be taking down the lighted pathway over at the church on that day too. So if anybody wants to volunteer to help out, meet us there.
Okay, well, thank
Are
you.
there any questions?
You can talk loud, that's pretty cool. All right, we're going to move on to the fire. Chief?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So fire prevention for the year of 25, we did 313 inspections totaling just under 20.5 million square feet is what was totally inspected. For December, our firefighters trained on an average of 11 hours per member, with the focus being on mass casualty scenarios. And for the year, our average was between 100 and 150 hours per member for the department for the annual training. Calls for service. We are up 57 calls for the month. This December was the busiest month in our history. We had a total of 210 calls just this month alone. We were averaging there, I was actually getting pretty nervous, right around the Christmas time. We were averaging almost 13 calls a day there for a bit, and sometimes 4 calls simultaneously. We are up 57 calls from December of last year, and in the first time in our department history, we actually broke 2,000 calls. We had 2,043 calls this year. Last year, we were at 1,902. So our calls are going up. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Sergeant, anything? How you doing, Sergeant?
Good. How is everybody?
Hello.
Good.
Just a couple of things, some announcements from the Sheriff's Office. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard wanted to warn residents that representatives from his office We'll never call or text and ask for an immediate payment of any kind for any reason. These scams are on the rise, and with tax season coming up, they will continue. So just know that the Sheriff's Office or any law enforcement agency will never ask for any type of payment immediately over the phone. And we will never ask for Bitcoin. We will never ask for Walmart cards or anything of the sort either. Also, with the temperatures, as temperatures hit Michigan during the past few days, Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard warns everybody not to be fooled. No lake ice is safe. There's no ice that should be considered safe at this time. Just use caution when going on the lakes, please. Additionally, the Shop of the Hero was a success, and we want to thank everybody that donated their time and everything else to make that a success. The fire department and South Lyon PD and everybody else that was involved. The Lyon Township itself, we raised over $5,000, and that doesn't include money that came from youth assistance or anything else either. So thank everybody for that.
That's really wonderful. That's a wonderful program. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thanks.
All right, Planning Commission, anything from the Planning Commission?
Yep, we had our our meeting Monday, December 8th, and our Planning Commission meeting. We had no public hearings. We had no old business. Under new business, we had the tribute at Coyote. It's formerly known as the Settlers Ridge Plan Development. They were in for their final review. The board, there were a few changes that were requested actually by this board, and I think specifically from Sean. They reduced the number from 289 houses to 283, and they did increase the open space to 1.76 acres. They also did 6 new pedestrian connections to the open space, and they went from 3 phasings to 2 phasings. So thank you, Sean. That really helped, and they listened, and to the rest of the board, they listened. So it was recommended by the Planning Commission to be approved to the Township Board. And then we had Hudson Edition site plan review. It's the it's the John Deere down on Pontiac Trail at 20801 Pontiac Trail, west side of Pontiac Trail, north of 8 Mile. They're doing a very small expanded storage space. What they're doing there is they're trying to get some of their outside storage inside. So that is in the B3 General Business District, and that was approved. We also had, which is on our agenda tonight, it was Lake at Summerhill Plan Development. It was just a conceptual review. No action was needed. The Planning Commission did voice some detailed things to this. Part of it's in Green Oak, part of it's in Lyon Township. And some of the concerns that they had was they wanted to, we're concerned, because it's in 2 communities, how is it going to work crossing the county line? How is it going to work with the school district? How is it going to work with the sheriffs, the police, the fire? We had a lot of discussion about too many unanswered questions, and there has to be an agreement with Green Oak. But anyways, the Planning Commission gave all their reviews on that, and that's where that stands. And that's my Planning Commission. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. That was it.
All right, CBA, Lisa, anything? Oh, you feeling rough, eh?
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Stand my 6 feet away.
We did have 2 cases on the ZBA agenda this past December. One was for a chicken coop in the White Horse Lake subdivision. The ZBA denied that upon finding, well, we discussed it at a bit of length, but decided that because the township cannot issue use variances, it ultimately got kicked back to defer to the condo docs of that development. So the HOA there has the jurisdiction to decide whether or not a chicken coop can go. The ZBA also considered a setback encroachment on a vacant lot in White Horse Lake, and subsequently did not find that it met the standards and denied that request.
Okay. Any questions, ZBA? All right, move on to building department. I know, Tony, you're feeling a little under the weather, and, as we all are a little bit under the weather.
Yeah, kind of works out. My voice doesn't work so well right now, but it works out because there's not a lot of noteworthy items to mention. Most building departments slow down a little bit around the holidays, and we do have. We've been working on preliminary plan review for there's a proposed new consumers energy natural gas processing building, which is a fairly complicated build, and so we've been working on that and having a little back and forth with them, and they're not through engineering yet anyway, so like I said, it's preliminary. Other than that, it's not a lot, business as usual for the most part.
Okay, well, I didn't even put you on the spot.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
you were
okay.
feeling a little under the weather. All right, the water department, I will say one thing. I am, to hear somebody say that this was a fast project. I've been dealing with this thing since 2017, when we first got this thing approved. And we have been fighting the DEQ and now Eagle, and for every aspect of every way. We have tried to make the best quality water. We went from, in 16, when I was elected here as supervisor, we went from water that was being delivered to our community that was unacceptable. It was iron filled, it was awful looking. And we made a determination that we were going to make that water the best it could possibly be. And we have been working on that nonstop to get it there. We have our last water plant that's under construction now, our softening plant, that hopefully will bring the soft water to the place it needs to be. It may not be zero, but Eagle won't let us take it to zero anyway. But we're hoping to get it down to at least 10 grains. And if we can get it down to 10 grains, we're going to be very happy here. And it's very inexpensive water for the quality of the water that we're delivering. I'm super proud of that. It's been a long process. It's been a lot of work. We're getting very close to the end. Right now, that all of our contractors have taken off for Christmas and the holidays, and I'm having like craziness trying to get them back. But we're still hoping to get that plant on at the beginning of this year. So I'm very proud of our water, and I'll stand behind our water every time somebody wants to talk about it. I'm super proud of it, and we have plenty of water. But the reason that we have the restrictions that comes into the summer when everybody starts watering their lawns, we literally go from 1.6 million gallons a day in the winter to 7 to 8 to 9 million in the summer. Okay, these are daily totals. We have plenty of water and we can keep treating it, but what happens is everybody uses the water between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and it drains the tanks to where that it has to mass produce the water. It's not a lack of water, we have to get the water back in the tanks because it goes out so quickly when they go to 8 million gallons in one day. So that's the only restrictions we've ever tried to put on our water system, is to keep it between 6 and 9 and 6 and 9, and the only reason is because people are getting home from work, they're cooking dinner, they're washing clothes at both of them times. And that's the only, and we've never made it a restriction, we've just asked to make it easier on the system so it can produce the water naturally during the day instead of trying to produce it all in a few hours. And that's why. But moving on, any questions about the water? All right, then we're going to close the reports and move on to unfinished business. We have none. We're going to move on to new business, and that is Lake at Summerhill PD AP 25-85 conceptual review. Brian, do you want to?
I will. Thank you, John.
Hey, Brian, I did get some, they were asking to be closer to the mic. Do you want this mic? They were having trouble hearing it on the YouTube channel. Sorry, as you said, they were having trouble hearing yours.
I'm always the quietest in the room anyway, so it's good. Thank you, Township Board. The proposal before the board this evening comes from Pulte Homes on property on the west side of Kent Lake Road. And as Patty said, this has gone before the Planning Commission as a conceptual review. In general, this is going to be a super complicated project as it's proposed, and we've spoken with Joe and Paul from Pulte and understand that they understand it's complicated too. We're crossing township, the proposal crosses township lines into Green Oak Township. It crosses county lines into Livingston County. So there are a whole host of potential complications, roadblocks, agreements that would have to come into play as this goes forward. But one of the things that I want the public who's watching the meeting to understand with a plan development like this that gets proposed to the township, it is reviewed in three different phases. We have a conceptual review where we're just giving feedback to the applicants. We have a preliminary review that is the big heavy lift burden on the applicants to prepare a lot of detailed plans, do traffic studies, detailed grading plans, things like that. And then the final review is where any loose ends are agreed upon. The plan development agreement is written and reviewed by the township and the applicant's side. And the final review ends up happening in a couple review meetings. It's an actual ordinance change to your zoning map. So if this were to move all the way through, this would become a zoning change for the proposed parcel. Each one of those phases is 2 reviews. One's at the Planning Commission, who makes a recommendation, and the Township Board takes the final action. So right now, we're early in the process. The Planning Commission did talk extensively about the coordination efforts that were going to have to come into play. They did note that single-family uses are appropriate for this location. That's what the master plan has dictated for a long time. And we talked a bit about safe pedestrian connections to Island Lake and the other neighborhoods along Kent Lake Road. So those are my main themes that I picked up from the Planning Commission. Taking a step back, this is 87 housing units altogether, 1 driveway in off of Kent Lake Road, and an emergency access that would end up, as it's proposed, going through the parking lot at Kent Lake Elementary. 61 of the home sites are within Lyon Township, so the remaining would be within Green Oak Township. And as you're looking at the map here, Green Oak is the area with the translucent cover on it. Lyon Township is the remainder of the parcel. It's further complicated by the fact that Kent Lake Road goes right across this parcel through an access easement. So there is a portion of this property that is legally contiguous but separated by the road. A few things that are of note here. Those 87 units are important because the overall density of the project in Lyon Township as it's proposed is about 1.3 units an acre. Your master plan allows up to 1.25 units an acre. When this sewer district was set up many years ago, 87 sewer taps were allocated to this property, which is where the 87 units of development on the overall parcel come into play. So it is a discussion that we'll have to have about overall density versus the expectation for development that was paid previously. I do think that that's up for discussion this evening. We noted a couple things. The open space that is proposed to be retained as part of this development is largely, there's a drain on the south side of the parcel. There's steep slopes on the south side of the parcel, so those are areas that would need to be retained regardless of what would be developed on this property. Similarly, a large portion of that of the property on the east side of Kent Lake Road is in a wetland complex as well. So, so some of the natural features that are on this site are being preserved, but partially due to the physical constraints on that property. The setbacks that are proposed on this development would be 35 feet in the front. The homes would be set back 20 feet between each other. this is in keeping with a lot of the cluster developments that the state prescribes and that our plan developments and cluster housing allow within the township. So the overall density stays as expected, but we preserve open spaces that are that we hope to preserve, that retain some value ecologically. I mentioned that we did talk a lot about sidewalks and bike paths, so I understand that the applicants are going to revise the plans when this continues down the revision process. But one item of site circulation that I want to point out, because this is crossing jurisdictions, one of the proposals that the Planning Commission and the Township Board should consider is the use of private roads, which is the mechanism for ownership of the roads within this development. I think with that, I will cut it short. The applicant is here this evening, but I can take any questions that you might have, understanding that we want to keep this a little bit brief this evening. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Brian?
Brian, just really quickly, I see the emergency access road. That's a whole another discussion, really, for the kind of how that will work and what the school district has to say about it. Is there a pedestrian connection anywhere?
There is a pedestrian connection through the main boulevard entrance, but not through the access easement.
So all those kids would go to school at Kent Lake, but they would have no way to get there without going out to Kent Lake Road and then walking down frontage?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I was just saying, I see the emergency access drive connecting to the parking lot, but I'm wondering if there would be a pedestrian connection other than them having to go out to Kent Lake Road and then down the Kent Lake Road frontage to get.
I mean, it's early on in the process. I think that's something we could request and makes a lot of sense for
I'm
those.
only asking now because obviously, you know, wherever this goes, they're going to be talking to the school district, and I would think that there would be a desire to have a pedestrian connection if this were to move ahead.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. And again, that's the emergency access. That's not going to be open, I would think, unless there's an absolute emergency. So the pedestrian connection, if there was to be one, you would think you'd want it to be open all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other ones, or bring the applicants up and we got a little presentation?
I have a couple little things.
Please.
I'll try not to duplicate the comments from the planner. Just a couple of things that we noted in our letter, which is in your packet. It's dated December 23rd. I agree with the number of REUs that were assessed as part of the West Grand River SAD. They are proposing to connect to Lyon Township utilities, which will require an intergovernmental agreement if this moves forward with Green Oak on water, sewer, emergency services, et cetera. In addition, for the sanitary sewer, we would recommend that they consolidate a pump station district. There is an existing pump station very close that the township owns and maintains, rather than having a brand new pump station really around the block from the existing. We would recommend that the township require one pump station and all the flows be accommodated if this project moves forward. That's one item. Also for stormwater detention, some of their plans will need to be revised. Some of the formulas used were incorrect. And this is very early in the stage, so we would anticipate this with the preliminary PD submittal that these things would be addressed. For grading, there is a pretty large or an extensive retaining wall proposed near one of the proposed road. We just point that out that it would be a maintenance item for the HOA, and the HOA would also be required to have a private road maintenance agreement, and that would also have to be contemplated between Lyon Township, Green Oak Township, with this intergovernmental agreement of, for example, future special assessments and how that would work. So, of course, it's very complex because it's proposed within two communities, so we're just trying to point out everything we can think of at this stage of the process, but that's really all I have at this point.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions before we bring them up?
If
Go ahead.
you talked about the possibility of additional pump station, if they were to keep their own pump station, would that be maintained by the future HOA, or would that be transferred to us and then we have to deal with maintenance of 2 pump stations in the district?
Exactly. That's why I'm recommending consolidating and eliminate one.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, you guys want to come on up? Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Joe Score with Pulte Homes of Michigan. I'll try to keep this short tonight. I know it's been a long night. I don't want to be redundant on some of the points that are already made. It is a unique and somewhat complex development. Unfortunately, that's all we tend to do anymore, in this day and age. You've got 2 townships, 2 counties. We're proposing water and sewer over the Lion line or lines servicing Green Oak land relative to those public utilities and probably emergency services. It would be subject to an intergovernmental agreement between the 2 townships. And we would we're also processing a PUD with Green Oak simultaneously with this PD as we speak tonight. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's going to be a fair amount of collaboration and cooperation is required. But that's kind of where we're at this very early stage of the process. So just kind of big picture where we're at. So we're on the west side of Kent Lake Road, contiguous to the Kent Lake Elementary School. You got the Island Lake State Park to the north. Across the street is Pulte's Turtle Creek development. And then, of course, to the south is Silver Lake Road. It's a total acreage for both parcels in both townships of approximately 204 acres, 86 to 87 in line. It used to be 87, I believe, that the current owner of the property, the Edward C. Levy, dedicated almost 1 acre to the road commission, so we're now down to 86. We have single point of access on Kent Lake Road, Spring Mill Creek to the south, and as I mentioned, the park to the north. Just a big high level on the zoning and master plan. R1, which I think classifies it as 1.25 units per acre, and it's a similar density recommendation for the master plan. And as an important feature, which was mentioned, is that there were 87 taps allocated to this parcel approximately 20 years ago. The current owner of the property, as I mentioned, Edward C. Levy Company, has held those taps for 20 years with obviously an eye on development all that time. And I think what we're doing is actually taking those 87 taps that were allocated to these lots and spreading them out over 2 different parcels and 2 different townships, thereby reducing the density on the Lyon Township side from 87 to, I believe it's 61. So it's effectively a lower density relative to the taps that were allocated to the property. Again, this is just the overall. As you can see, it's a unique and irregular shaped parcel. Part of the reason why is because the owner of the property donated and gifted the land to the South Lyon School District when they built Kent Lake Elementary. So they were left with kind of a very odd configuration, especially as you get on the western or the eastern side of this parcel. So specific to the Lyon Township property, as I mentioned, 86 acres, 61 homes, approximately 0.7 units per acre gross. The minimum house separation, and I know this has been a topic of discussion over different developments, the minimum house separation, for the most part, is 24 feet between the houses. 4 out of the 5 plans that we're proposing are 48 feet wide. The lots are 72 feet wide, so you end up with 24 feet between the houses. There is one house that's a little bit larger. It's 51 feet wide, and so therefore, if that house, in theory, was built next to one another, you would have 21 feet between the houses, but we think that would happen. It would be a minority of the time, given the proposed plans. This is just another shot at the unique configuration, the preservation of the significant natural features of the site. So in terms of our community benefit and the pathway on Kent Lake Road, as you can see, we're proposing pathway at our frontage that starts on the west side of the road, goes south, I'm sorry, it goes north, and then crosses over to the east side of the road, and then goes all the way down to Grand River and Kent Lake Road, where it ties into the existing path at Grand River and also potentially at the park. Now, this just essentially follows the right-of-way, okay? Now, we have looked at and talked about keeping it all on the west side of the road. We think it's more an efficient, a safer configuration, but that would require an easement from the state of Michigan, given the fact that there's really no right-of-way in that red box there. There's only 2 feet of right-of-way, and so we couldn't build a pathway. We would definitely need consent from the state. It makes sense that they would want to grant it to us. I mean, they promote pedestrian connectivity, and it makes all the sense in the world, but it's something that I couldn't commit to at this state or at this point in time, just because, again, I don't have any control over it, and I've dealt with the state before, and sometimes it's not so straightforward. These are some of the houses, as you can see, architecturally diverse, wide range of building materials. Just renderings for now. And that's it. Just a couple points. I know there's a little bit of discussion on the emergency access easement. That is already in place. In fact, it's been in place for 20 years, actually 25 years. That was part of the transaction when the levy company donated the land to the school district for the construction of Kent Lake Elementary. Levy's smart. They knew they were giving up all their frontage. They wanted to develop this property, and they were impacting their access. So they knew when they gave up that frontage and donated that land, they would need another point of access. So they negotiated that easement with the school district. That easement was granted, as I said, in 2001, I believe. All Pulte did was essentially enhance it, bring it up to current standards. I believe when it was granted back then, it was like 15 feet wide. We made it 20 to be so that it was in compliance. We've also had some discussions with the fire marshal in terms of where he wanted the gate. So we modified it just a little bit given the direction that we received. And one other point on the pump station. So we're happy to take a look at it. We've done some preliminary analysis. Based on what we see so far, it is not feasible in any way. We're looking at around 2,500 feet of sewer main that would have to go upwards of 30 to 32 feet deep. That is something that we've never even done before. It's so deep. So we just don't think it's practical or feasible. But we'll take another look. It just doesn't look good at this point in time.
Okay.
So I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Well, the floor is open for the board to talk about this conceptual. And you want to start, Chris? You got anything you want to talk about?
Sure. Hopefully my mic's working okay.
I can't hear you.
No. All right. So the first thing that stood out to me was obviously the density, the 61 versus 21 that was on the parallel plan. I note that the property has paid for the 87 sewer taps. So they paid for them. So I think that's kind of where this is got to sit in terms of density. I would prefer that we decluster a little bit. I didn't like the side yard setbacks of 10 feet. The presentation explained that it would be 21 feet at the minimum, so it's a little better 24 typically. Yeah. If there's opportunities to spread it out, so we get at least 25 feet between the homes, that would be much better. The height within the review said 35 feet for the homes, but I think that's 30.
It is. That was an error, and I mentioned that at the Planning Commission meeting. It's not 35. It should be in compliance with your ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good, because that would make it less complicated for fire. I know the suggested about the roads being private. Our ordinance, I know you can't have more than 10 homes on a private road, but this appears to be a very unique situation. So I guess one of the things that Brian mentioned is to comment on that. I guess I wouldn't have an issue with the with the roads being private as long as they kind of met the public road standards, whether it's Livingston County Oakland County, probably Oakland County, is the better way to go. The traffic study and the improvement recommendations on Kent Lake Road were a little surprising that it's only a right turn taper. I'd have Fleiss and Vanderbeek take a look at that again. We had a project that was looking at doing an approach on Pontiac Trails curve a long time ago, and I think that had significant improvements to make that safe. In particular, if there is going to be a potential pedestrian crossing there as well, that's shown on the plans. In terms of, so there's a lot of like additional density that's beyond normal, but there's the sewer taps, and then obviously the setbacks, both rear, front, and side setbacks all have been requested variances. So there's a lot of stuff that looks like has to be done to hit that 87 number that, again, you guys paid for. And so that, because it's a PD, we'll be looking at the community benefits, and I think that's what's already been discussed in terms of a pathway connection, whether it's through the emergency access route, which is a more direct route for the future homeowners and their kids to go to Kent Lake, is good. And then obviously you mentioned connecting to Island Lake if the state park is amenable to it, which I think they will. They will be. I would prefer that being on the west side of Kent Lake Road instead of trying to do a crossing there. I'm not opposed to a crossing because you still have Turtle Creek across the street that right now, if there are kids there, they can't actually walk to Kent Lake because there's no safe crossing. So not opposed to a crossing either way. It'd probably have to be like the road commission will probably make you put in a hawk signal to get that to work. Other amenities to, one of the comments was the open space, that you meet the requirements, but it's not really clustered in a meaningful way. It's lots of strips of land along the perimeter, especially on the north side. If there's a way to decluster some of those homes or getting a more solid open space, maybe at Kent Lake Road, where you could put in something for the new community, whether it's just a little pocket park. We've seen those in other developments. Other thoughts are, especially with the pedestrian access through the emergency access route, make that a spruced up walking trail. You could have a viewing area of the lakes there. Working with a school system, there could be educational opportunities as well between the two. But if the agreement's already signed, maybe there's no leverage with the schools, but it would be a nice benefit. I think, and then the engineer in me agrees with Leslie, if it at all possible to consolidate the pump station, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Something to work on.
No, it makes sense. I don't blame you. Thank you. Thank you.
I see you've got your traffic study done. Have you met, so the county, has the county reviewed the recommendation on the traffic study for the improvements necessary yet, or are you still too preliminary?
So I believe it's preliminary, but we submitted it, correct. We submitted to the county.
Do they've given you feedback that concur with the findings, or
I haven't seen it. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen a review from the county anyways.
I mean, with the curve there, nobody drives the speed limit. I guess I would share some of those concerns. And again, as was discussed a couple times now, the pedestrian access, I mean, you're increasing the easement to the emergency access easement from 15 to 20. It would be great to get a pedestrian connection there as well.
I don't have an issue. I think it's a great idea. It's
the school.
Yeah, it's just whether they want to do it or not, if they see any issues or, it's problematic or not to them. But for us, we have no issue
right.
with that. Yeah.
Okay. The gross acreage includes the lake, right? I mean, it's the net. So, I mean, when you talk about density, you usually have to kind of, in my mind, for it to be reasonably used, it has to equate to, like, I guess, usable area that you're giving up as open space. So to me, I would think that it would make sense for you to provide access. I mean, this lake is privately owned. It's completely within this property, right?
You're talking about the lake on the Green Oak parcel?
The Green Oak side, yep.
Yeah, no, our plans, our proposal includes that as an amenity. So so the entirety of the development, both the Green Oak and the Lyon Township residents will get to enjoy that lake.
So, and I just wanted to make, so if we're counting it as open space, rarely does someone it never happens to where an entire small lake like this or a lake like this is owned entirely. There's no
Right.
neighbor that's going to come out and say, I don't want you here. I don't want you to affect my ability to use the lake. You own entirely that lake that's behind the school.
Correct.
So obviously protecting the environment is important and protecting the natural features, but it would be great because you do have quite a bit of frontage that is, I guess, east of it. You don't have to trudge or provide, access to the other side of the lake to give people, even on the Lyon Township side, that access. It just isn't shown. And I know it's conceptual. I'm just asking because it looks like you've got, with the exception of the area where the cul-de-sac is, there's a basin, it looks like, and I'm moving my cursor around, but it's not helping you. It looks like there's a basin.
That's correct.
On the south end, so that's not really going to be navigable. The only way through is between those lots at the end of the cul-de-sac. You're going to charge a huge premium to those people, and they're going to be super upset with you when everybody else wants to access in their side yards. So I guess to me, I don't know if there's a way that can be rearranged, because that doesn't.
Well, so again, this is preliminary.
Right.
But the intent is to allow access, most likely through that area, whether it's next to a house or close to a house. As long as it's disclosed to that potential buyer, it doesn't really matter.
Sure.
But the intent is to allow access for the entire development through that area to the lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we're counting it toward, your density, we're counting it toward your open space, and it's got to be accessible and usable, or else I wouldn't want to count it. So it sounds like that's your plan. It just isn't well developed yet, and I don't know. Obviously the Green Oak side is getting larger lots, and I assume it's because some of those are waterfront lots, or
Not
you
all
just
of
like
them.
them
Not
better?
all of them. So approximately 16 out of the 21. I'm trying to keep it all straight. Out of the 21 on the Green Oak side, those are 100-foot lots. The remainder are the same size as the Lyon Township lots. But you're right. The waterfront lots are a little bit different, and so they're a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, have a different house on it. Well, same type of house, side entry garage with a wider lot. Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Looks like some of your biggest lots don't touch the lake. So there may be some jockeying around where you can, I guess, provide some good access and a good amenity to the development.
There's no doubt. You're correct. We will do that.
And Chris has said it, and we may all share in this. 20 plus years ago, a study was done, an SAD was done, and this is a number that you got. And unfortunately, this isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time. It drives our decision making. It's unfortunate because, frankly, our hands are a bit tied with it, but it just really kind of puts us in an odd spot. So while I appreciate you trying to work with us, I'm just kind of airing concern that this is just another one of these that the number is kind of given to us because someone's bought a vested right to build a certain number of units. And hopefully we'll be done with that soon. But
Okay. Fine, thanks, Sean. Patty,
Yeah, it kind of just, I want to touch on that special assessment. So that was the West Grand River special assessment. It came all the way from up here on Grand River. It went all the way down Grand River to support the mobile home park. And it came around the corner to support the schools. When this was all formatting, that the school really wanted it because they were right in the process of building, and we could provide that for them. So the school got on board. Actually, they paid their RUs up front, which was very helpful for us, so we didn't have to borrow as much money. But that's how we divided up I didn't personally divide them up, but that's how they got divided up 20 years ago, was by the acreage of the land. So that was 87 acres. That's why they paid for 87 RUs. They had an option to buy them, prepay them if they wanted to, or they didn't. And they chose to prepay them. They paid them over, I think this one was either 15 or 20-year SAD, but they've been fully paid. So that's a little history of how that came to be, but it really was to help the mobile home park, and it was really to help the schools. Not that the only reason, but it benefited all the properties that bordered that, and if they wanted to participate, they could. So I just wanted a little history of that, so
I didn't know the school district received a donation of the property for Kent Lake. think
I
that's-
didn't know that
that's
either.
pretty
That was
great.
pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I did not know that either, so it's a little history that, but that's how that 87 came to be, and that's how we divided up all the special assessments in the township back in those days. And obviously, a different board, a different method than this board today, but that's how we got to 87. So I just wanted to explain the it was a very large special assessment district.
Okay, Lisa, you want to add anything?
I've got a couple questions. The sidewalk and pathway, that's pretty important to me in connectivity, so I know that you're gonna have to deal with the state and that'll kind of work itself out. So, asking also about the access to the lake that's on the township, Lyon Township side, and also the access to the lake on Green Oak, as Sean mentioned, you're gonna work that out as well. Do you plan to have that a non-motorized lake, or is this gonna be filled with?
Oh, no, the non-motorized.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, yeah. That's a good question.
Yes. And then, what kind of, actually, the little, all the way to the west, the little, tail that kind of sticks out into the lake, is that? Yes, is that kind of marshy? Is that solid? What are we talking about?
I think that's correct. Can we take a look at that? Yeah. It's just a little peninsula, but it's not buildable.
Right, but that's not like,
correct.
would there be a beach there? I mean, like, are we talking about?
I mean, I think it's something that we'd have to just take a look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious
Yeah.
about that. And then the last question I really have is, what kind of fencing would be provided to ensure that people in Island Lake are not specifically ending up in that Green Oak Lake? And I also know that there is hunting on Island Lake property. I myself have ended up in that Green Oak Lake because I thought it was Island Lake still, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh wow, there's remnants of a barbed wire fence that I accidentally stumbled through.
Yeah. You know, we haven't considered anything in terms of trying to keep out trespassers or for safety purposes. We just haven't got that far.
Right.
It's something that we can take a look at if it's a concern. I think we can sort of flesh that out, but we just haven't looked at it at this stage of the game.
I'm not necessarily sold on having to have, firm, like, gosh, please don't do chain link fencing, that would be abysmal. But in some way, like, to designate, like, this is no hunting beyond this point, really making it clear, and I don't have a solution, but that would be a concern of mine.
Yeah, I mean, just sitting here today, if it's signage, that's easy, right? If it's something more than that, we'll have to just put our heads together and think about it, and then come up with a viable solution.
And have you discussed with Island Lake what they would want to see to make sure that?
We have not.
Okay.
We have not. No.
Maybe they have some suggestions.
Could be.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
But, all right, that's all I have, and that's all I have left in my voice today.
Lisa?
I'm going to go back up to my corner.
Yes.
Yeah. Baby is in the corner right now.
So I was also going to ask if you had talked to Island Lake yet. So thanks for that answer. 'Cause I know there are pathways, trails, whatever that they have that kind of run along the ridge line there between what I used to call Horseshoe Lake and the other lake over to the west of this parcel. So, something to look at, where on the property line does that actually fall? Because there may be, things that people have just been used to using, and I guess it's an open question of whether you would want to allow that to continue or not. But I personally don't love the idea of, fencing or anything. I think, signage just to tell people, hey, you're not in Island Lake anymore would be quite sufficient. Staying on the communication front, I guess, have you talked to the schools about any of this yet?
The schools, in terms of what?
The fact that the project is happening, the possible changes to the easement.
So,
they're aware that you're.
As I mentioned, it's been in place for a long time, and we've had, we actually went and and amended the easement to bring it up to standard. So we've been in actually constant communication with the school on this particular issue. So they're aware of everything that's going on. And they executed the easement in the last month. So it's all very up to date. Yeah.
Who's responsible for maintaining the infrastructure within that easement? Was there any, like, is the school responsible for the portion that goes through their parking lot, or is that you guys,
so their
shared?
parking lot is their parking lot, but typically anything beyond the emergency access easement is going to be on the HOA. And so Pulte will run the HOA, and until we turn it over to the resident homeowners, we'll handle that. But at that, when the transition happens, the HOA is responsible for maintenance and keeping it clear.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robert.
No, that's fine. It was, timely, appropriate. On the, I guess, let's see, overall density front, thank you, Patty, for the background on where the 87 came from. I don't know if it looks, so many numbers swirling around here, but I know, Brian, what it was, but based on the future land use being applied, it was a little shy of 87. Can you remember how much you got to
87
with
total, 61 and...
Well, no, for actual, but you had a comment in here somewhere about based on the 1.25 per acre.
Oh.
Not the parallel plan that it's the huge leap from, but you
Yeah,
had
the net acreage in the Lyon Township side is 45 and a half acres based on the plans, so the density of 61 units is 1.3 units an acre.
Okay, right. So there was a slight overage there. Given the REUs, I guess I don't know if we've ever done something like this or if it's even possible, but if numbers were to shake out differently and between what Green Oak lets you do or not and what we end up adjusting or not, if it came out to be less than 87, has there ever been any kind of precedent where maybe we buy back the balance of REUs so that we're not, completely stiffing them on their prior contributions, but we're also trying to get closer to our current standards and goals for the property?
Do you want me to?
If you can
answer
briefly,
that.
I am curious.
Yeah, no, we just did one this year.
Okay.
Maybe you weren't at that board meeting, but we did just buy some back.
Oh,
And-
okay. You know what? I
Yep.
do remember that now that you say it.
Yep.
It was an individual
Yes.
that
Yep.
had bought. Okay. Yes.
Yep,
Thank you.
Yep, and that was Edward Irwin Drive.
Yes.
And then, yes, we have bought in other REUs back
Okay.
at the request of the person that has, or the property owner that has prepaid them. But we do buy them back, because it's in our agreement, our ordinance, that they get bought back at the actual price of what they purchased them for.
Right. Not necessarily what the
Not
current.
the interest that,
Yeah.
over the SAD, and so that, yes.
And only the township board can buy them back. They couldn't sell them to
They
somebody else.
can't sell them
I
to
just wanna
another,
point that
they
out,
can't
too.
sell them to another property owner, they can't sell them to somebody outside the township, they can't sell them to a piece of property across the street. It's gotta be back to the township. We reserve that right to do that.
Right. All right. I just wanted to know because it's like, is it a flat out done deal that 87 is 87, or is this a point that can be discussed? And obviously, I know that you would not want to lower it than 87.
Well, as I mentioned, we're still subject to what Green Oak is going to do, and we're very early in the process there too. So I'm managing both PD and PUD. I don't know exactly where it's going to shake out.
I mean,
That's our objective at this point, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I super recently saw some of the Green Oak review and looking at, it seems to be like it might be a stretch for them. And, if that's the case, I just, I want to know what our possible future flexibility is on this kind of things.
It might be. A lot of times planners, no offense to the planners in the room, but sometimes planners review come back sort of that way, and then we have to get in front of planning commission, the board, and see what happens.
Right.
Sorry, Brian.
I know setback kind of things. I know we're talking about the front yard being smaller, the side yards. I know we've gone as low as 10 a couple times recently. I don't love the 10, but we have done it before. The rear is down to the 35 as well. Personally, I know you can start to run into some issues with, driveway length, not overhanging sidewalks and things, but personally, like, if the plans work, I don't mind even shaving a little more off the front and giving people a little more space in the back, because I think a lot of people don't really use their front yards very productively, whereas people are going to definitely more enjoy having, I can fit a bigger deck,
Yeah.
I can put, whatever back here. So if you had to play with those envelopes a little bit, I'd be open to that kind of a shift. Let's see, where do I go here? The pathways and sidewalks situation, I definitely encourage you to talk to Island Lake. I would like to see pathway along both the east and west frontage of Kent Lake. My reading of the ordinance, you're required to put it on the east side of Kent Lake because that's your property frontage. The west side, I would hope that you would be willing to do as part of the benefit if the state would grant that easement over that space. I think it helps everybody. That mid-block crossing on a corner, on a curve, seems questionable, depending upon what kind of feedback you get there. Another possibility might be looking at adding a mid-block crossing more aligned with the Turtle Creek entrance / bus point there. Might fit better with the traffic. It's not on a curve. People are already looking at an intersection expecting to possibly see something. As far as on-site amenity, I already mentioned, there's kind of a pre-existing pathway around the north and west edges of that western lake. Again, depending upon some possible discussions with Island Lake, you could potentially tie into those or make your own so that you have, circulation around it. I know it's potentially liability issues, but I don't know what thought you've given as far as if there would be any rules or postings about, hey, is all of this open space, don't come in here if you're not a resident of this HOA, or is it something that is more open? We've had some developments recently that have explicitly come in and stated, hey, all this space we're preserving, we're going to make that accessible to the entire community. That was, I believe that's what's happening with, the name is escaping me, but the one to the
Davis Creek.
the one on Pontiac Trail to the
Preserve at Davis
yes,
Creek.
thank you, Davis Creek, that one. So that's another possible thing, because looking at it, I can see how the clustering works to get you close to these numbers, but when we look at the 290% whatever density bonus technically over the parallel plan, I'm not necessarily seeing enough of the benefit beyond what would already be pretty close to required by the ordinance. With, you're not going to be able to build on a lake. There's a lot of treat areas you're not going to be able to build on. There's a lot of slopes you wouldn't be able to build on. So to get that extra bonus, I guess my current sitting point is that it's not an insane product design, but to justify it, I think we need more. I think I hit most of my points here. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Robert. Michelle, you have anything you want to add?
Well, first of all, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon about the pump station, if you can do it.
Do our best.
And then I was curious too, the school with this connect to the existing school parking lot, they're really okay with that?
Well, as I mentioned, they were okay with it, and it's been in place for over 2 decades. And then when I reached back out to them, again, to modify it, right, to bring it up to current standards, they were extremely cooperative. Yeah, they were great. And I don't know if that's because that's just the way they operate, or because there's a long history with this particular easement, and they're cognizant of the history of this land that was donated to them. I really don't know. I don't want to speak for them, but they've been very cooperative, and I
just feel like the schools are so locked down that to have people wandering, closer to the playgrounds, you know, that's kind of tough. I mean, I would feel, well, I wouldn't want to intrude on that, but that doesn't mean there aren't other people that are like, well, I can cut through just because I can cut through. So,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
well,
I-
if it's there and it's an an emergency exit, but I just find that that's really odd.
Yeah.
It's funny, Michelle, because this is the only school in the district that does not have houses around it, where
Yeah, that's
they
true.
back up to a playground or
Yeah.
have access to it. This
Right.
was like on an island.
Right.
It was just dropped in the middle of nowhere back when it
Yeah,
was
so
built.
I was like,
This
wow.
is like the infill that was, you would
Okay.
think may have preceded the school, but it's coming afterwards. But
Mhm.
yeah.
I did, I guess, kind of forget to say that I was curious about, I mean, I know you said they've already re-executed, but
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody talked about or thought about the idea of, pushing that a little further south or something. I don't know what kind of space is there on their property line, what kind of wetland boundaries you
Yeah.
might run into, but just something to take back and look at so that it's not necessarily cutting as close to their facility and some of that.
Yeah, it just seems really tight. I thought that was odd, but if they agreed to it, they agreed to it. The Kent Lake Road intersection, and I know this is only so many homes coming off of that. Have they talked to you about, or have you inquired about when they plan on road commission? I know if they've got it planned to redo
Yeah.
that, there's so many accidents there now.
Yeah, I don't have the date off the top of my head. Have we
Yeah.
heard
And it might
anything from
just
them on
be
that? Yeah,
No.
we can find out.
I think it's 27.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
because
2027, because I knew it was coming, but I didn't know how far
So we're
out
trying to,
it was.
you know,
Okay,
be
2027.
thoughtful about these road
Questions,
closures.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
That would be good.
Didn't they say a short term, they were gonna take out the boulevard?
And
I
do
mean, they
kind of a
talked about
fix.
taking the boulevard
Yeah,
out. That
I
was,
don't know, it's
that
bad.
was a short term kind of before they redid the whole intersection.
I haven't heard that. that
Yeah, it was at our strategy
Because
meeting.
this people of crossing this way is not working.
They're going to achieve some of modification. I
They
haven't
may
heard
be able
that.
to do that quicker.
Yeah.
And then
I
the
can
only other
inquire.
thing is, yes, it's beautiful to be on the lake and to have the biggest houses on the lake. But man, those people have, I know it's Green Oak, so we hopefully won't have to deal with it, but they need to know that you're letting everybody else come in there because you're gonna have, stay off my lawn.
Yeah, so if there's one thing that I think we do pretty well as a publicly traded company, and that's disclosure, right?
Okay.
We know, just given the sheer volume that we do and the people that we deal with and the complaints that we get.
People are so excited to have a
Yeah,
new house,
but-
they don't hear that.
But we do that at multiple levels. We do it on the sales floor. We do it during the construction meetings. We do it during the, the turnover. It's something that I think, and maybe, and I can see where maybe, I don't want to speak for other developers, maybe that gets a little bit lost in the process, but we go to the other extreme in terms of disclosure.
Okay.
Written, verbal, you name
It's
it.
just so tight in there that it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so they come down this little cul-de-sac, then where are they parking?
And
Where are
again,
they going?
yeah, that's fair, and that may evolve a little bit as we get. Again, this is conceptual, but it is tight, and it's an extremely unique parcel in terms of the shape and configuration. So we're somewhat limited, but there's always something that we can do. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to clearly understand what they're dealing with before they buy a house.
Okay, good luck.
Okay, well, I think you've got a lot of good pointers here at the board meeting. The one thing that I'm really don't know how it's gonna work out is this intergovernmental
Yeah.
between counties and townships and how we're gonna serve Green Oaks parcels on the dime of the township. I mean, that's to me, our fire department is gonna have to service Green Oak Township. I'm a little concerned on that. We haven't talked to the fire department near enough about that. They're all here, but they would be responsible of taking care of fires in Green Oak Township. I'm not sure that's gonna work. And then, the intergovernmental agreement with the sewer and the water going on. What is Lyon Township, what will they get out of that? I mean, you've got the highest portion of homes on the Green Oak parcel for the most money. How do we get paid for our township to take care of that parcel? And I think these are things that really are gonna change the,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is this a
How are we gonna work that
425
out?
agreement candidate, basically? Where, isn't that what it is, a 425 agreement between municipalities where you allocate different, like, for example, like the millages that pay for these things? I mean, obviously, as I'm sure you can understand, Lyon Township, we have mutual aid with all of our neighbors, but like to John's point, we're not gonna be the police and fire you know, without cost. All the other residents are paying, you know, into the millage to defray the cost of police and fire services. So I think it's a 425 agreement where, you know, and it's common maybe in Oakland County, but I know in other parts of the state there are, you know, where certain resources are allocated, sort of like the agreement you're talking about, intergovernmental agreement you're talking about, where one community provides certain services and you basically you're maybe a resident of Green Oak, but you're paying for those services to Lyon Township, so you're not subsidizing, you know, another community's resources, I guess.
And I think my last thing is that this is a project that's going to take a lot of work. To get this thing to work out, I don't know how you're going to end up or how it's going to be at the end, but I liked all the you know, the remarks from the board saying, you know, the bike paths are important and the pump station for sure. I know that's going to be a chore, but that is on us. And we don't want any more pump stations. We need to keep them in one.
Yeah, look, I totally get it, and I'm empathetic when it comes to that, and I think Pulte's always been very cooperative and collaborative in these types of issues, but, you know, there's a line, and again, as I mentioned, we've never developed or constructed sewer that's 32 feet deep, never. And so if that's what we're obligated to do here, to consolidate these pump stations, I don't know that it's going to work. I don't know that it's feasible, and I want to be transparent with you. I don't want to say I'll do something when I know that I can't do it. And based on preliminary analysis that we've done, this may be a bridge too far. But happy, you know, to talk about it. Happy to look at it again. Sometimes maybe we can get creative, and maybe we're missing something. It's possible, but we did get this review comment. We talked about it with the Planning Commission. We looked at it multiple times, and we're just not seeing a path. But I do understand why you wouldn't want to. Nobody really wants them, and you don't want multiple within this area. So I get it, and we'll take another look and see if there's another way to skin this cat. I'm just very skeptical at this point, unfortunately.
And just to clarify something, we haven't studied this either. We put this on the applicant to study, and if they move forward in the process, I would expect an analysis submitted with the preliminary PD. I just wanted to state that for the record so you are aware. I haven't looked at all the depths of all the pipes to try and figure it out myself yet. We put that on the applicant, and we'll see where it goes.
Really quick, John. So, and I'll ask Sergeant Sharma. I think, isn't the hunting regulation no shooting can happen within 400 feet of a habitated structure? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but isn't that the number? So that basically takes you almost to the road there. So I feel like you're going to have a conversation with the state at some point about the pathway. I don't see how any hunting can happen on the south side of that road. I mean, I know there's a lot of shooting that's near the school, and it's caused some chaos over the years occasionally because people get really close to that property. But I mean, all of those houses are, you know, I believe if the scale is right, within. I mean, most of those are within the 400 feet, from that property line. So it seems like there should be some posting of it, or it could become just a safety issue. I mean, I think that, you know, most of us who have gone to this park had no idea that road was, at least I can speak for myself, had no idea that road got so close to this private property. And Lisa mentioned getting tangled in a barbed wire fence or something like that. Did that necessitate a 911 call? Or?
No, yeah.
Okay, that's good. But you know, I have concerns about, you know, conflicts and issues with hunters and residents. Sure. And, you know, I don't, like most users who go out there feel the same way as, you know, many of us have, that they think that's just an extension of the park.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right.
Okay.
I have one more food for thought. So if likelihood, we would probably go into an agreement that we would have them put our fire and police millage on their tax bills. And I'm talking about the Green Oaks portion. But my thought is, these are millages that only last X amount of years.
Yeah.
How do they vote
right.
for something that gets put on their tax bill in Lyon Township when they reside in Green Oak Township? So that's something, that's another, think about that. I mean, they have to have the right to vote on, like, when the police or fire millages expire or are approaching expire. How do they vote in Lyon when it's on their tax bill. That's a very thing to think about too. Now,
Yeah,
it's because I do taxes.
yeah.
So how do you do that? That's a very difficult thing too. So we can't take away rights to, so.
So I guess one last clarification on the pathways and stuff on Kent Lake Road. I guess what I was getting after hearing everybody else's comments was trying to find just a contiguous pathway all the way down, Kent Lake to Island Lake. So the whole road. And I realize you can, if you stayed on the west side, you'd have to build across the frontage of the elementary school, but then you would not have to do like a crossing to the east side. Or you have to you're going to be zigzagging across Kent Lake. I guess the goal is to get everybody to Island Lake.
Right.
So whether it's through a hawk signal and crossing to get over there, or keeping everybody on one side and having to pave a little extra across the elementary school frontage, I don't know what's the best route.
Yeah.
And if you can do one or the other. So I guess that's kind of the...
So, but I think what you're saying, you're saying so that the residents on both sides, I think that we're getting at, both sides of Kent Lake Road can access the pathway to the state park.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if the people in Turtles Creek, if they're going to use their pathway and then either cross at the intersection where you had shown on your drawing, or cross the west, and I don't know.
Yeah.
The goal is just to get everybody over there
Right.
if they can.
Great.
Okay, anyone else want to add anything?
Not personally, but can we let, I believe Jay, who sent the email in, was coming tonight. I don't know if he's here, if we could let him.
Oh, yeah,
done?
he was at the planning commission, right? Yeah.
All set?
Yeah, you had
Okay,
some-
thank you.
You had some good comments, Jay.
I didn't know he was here, I'm sorry about that.
Can this get moved?
What do you need?
The sidewalk thing? The one with the sidewalks?
The slide with the sidewalk.
Oh, change it to.
Oh, you want to see this pathway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like what I'm hearing. You guys are on the right page. I'm a little frustrated that this is like a starting point, because I felt like this could be a way better project from the start. I think Joe and I are actually going to be good friends here soon.
Of course.
You want to stay?
Okay.
So one thing I've noticed living here is dead-end sidewalks, right? These sidewalks don't take us anywhere. And if you look at this, the Greens pathway on Kent Lake Road, it is all marsh. When you turn the corner, it's all marsh. Does anybody know when the next sidewalk is? Brian, do you know when the next sidewalk is down Grand River from Kent Lake Road?
It's the trail on the north side of Grand River.
Other than the connection right there to the
So
Huron
on
Valley Trail.
Yeah, so again, if you don't cross on this side, what is the
You mean
south side?
The south side of Grand River, west
The
of
next sidewalk.
Lake Road?
No.
I think
No.
It's all
Is there a little
it's on the north side
section?
of Grand River. all
So
way
the
down.
next sidewalk connection is the daycare
It is
across the
it
street.
is, because that was part of our trailway that we did with Huron Clinton Metro Authority.
Oh,
And
the daycare. Wait, you're saying up Pontiac Trail way.
So the
South-
next,
south
yeah.
side of Grand
No,
River.
it's on
up Grand
Grand
River.
River.
There's a
Yeah.
So without connecting,
South of Grand River.
Okay.
Yeah.
right, so the next connection on that side is the daycare across the street. We could take that same green sidewalk on the east side of Kent Lake and get creative and literally connect every single house from Milford Road, Pontiac Trail, Grand River, into Kensington Lake and Island Lake. It would be easier for the developer to build. He wouldn't have to go through marsh. And everybody would benefit. And it's things like that, like getting creative. And that's why I keep on telling Brian and Joe that I'd be more than happy to sit with you. Furthermore, if he wants more density, if he wants higher houses, give us more sidewalk that does the same thing. I mean, there's things that can be done when you get creative and you talk. This is the third time I'm requesting to sit down with Brian and Joe to, again, I'm not against this development, but we can make it better for the community, which is required per ordinance. Substantial improvement to user the residents of this development and the community. Me. Right? Can you do the other slide?
What do you need?
The one that was up when I was up here. I'm sorry, guys. I'll make it quick.
You're good.
This one.
This one?
Yeah. So, yeah.
You want that one?
So, again, I'm not against like have someone buying a house and spending more money and wanting a private lake. Make a pathway through the Green Oak and Lyon Township border that then connects around the lake. They can market, 20 houses on the lake, private access, this and that. We still have a pathway away around the lake. They benefit, we benefit, everybody benefits. You guys can charge more money. Again, just talking. So, Brian, Joe, if you guys want to sit down and chat, I'd be more than happy. I'll even buy you lunch. But I sent an email. There's a lot of good points in it. As far as Kent Lake, listen, I'm not against a access road, right? It cuts way further than you think into the playground of Kent Lake. And it does so because it goes around a retention pond. There's a whole marsh field on the other side of Kent Lake. Does Kent Lake even need a retention pond? Can we take that retention pond and dump into the marsh and fill that in and push the road back further towards the thing?
I don't think we can.
So
It needs pre-treatment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we can.
No.
So that's why it cuts, again, I would assume that being an emergency access, there would be some kind of barrier protecting the kids of the school on the playground and the emergency road. And then how do the schools benefit? Maybe a fence, maybe a sitting area. And then utilizing the emergency road as another point for accessibility for walking, biking, pocket parks, lookouts. Again, benefit to the community.
Yep.
And connecting to Mill Pond, I believe? Or is that? Anyways, connecting there and then connecting to Green Lake.
Trout Lake is the
Yeah.
west side of that
So-
ridge.
That's it.
All right, Jay, well, thank you for that. Is there anything else anyone wants to add to the conversation? Okay, seeing none, then we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the salary resolutions for the Township Board of Trustees.
Okay, and these are all consistent with the same salary increases given to the employees for 2026. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-01.
Support.
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll make a resolution to approve resolution 2026-02.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Go for it. Well, I'll make a motion to approve 2026-03 resolution establishing treasurer's salary.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026-04 for the Board of Trustees.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to the utility fee schedule that we have to do each year. And this is what it came out to. Has everybody a chance to take a look at that?
Yes,
And
indeed.
as you notice, I think, again, the townships stayed the same.
Yeah, our fee
Yeah,
and
we
the
don't
water
raise
fee,
our
it's sewer
fees.
fee only because of
Yes.
line wastewater, because we're obligated contractually.
Exactly.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-05 adoption of utility fee schedule revisions for sewer rates.
Support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to go on to the consider to approve the Civil Engineering Solutions contract extension and fee increase.
So I looked at this and it looks like, Leslie, you've had the same contract that's been rolling ahead with 3% increases over the years. That's how we've done them last couple times. I also want to say that looks like charging $600 for a site plan review. I don't know how you would even cover your fees in this day and age with that, so I think it's appropriate and in line to go to the $1,000 fee for that first review. Obviously, the second review is a fraction of the price, but it seems like it's very reasonable still and an appropriate going rate. I mean, obviously, every plan is a little bit different, but if that's a flat fee, I assume that some of them you're making out okay, but more of them you're probably really getting close to or potentially going over that $1,000 in that first review.
Yeah, especially with the stormwater review requirements.
Right.
And the site plan review has not been increased for 6 years. So
Yeah.
just the hourly rates.
That is a very low fee. $600 is an extremely low fee, and I think $1,000 is still on the very reasonable side of things, in my estimation. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and you know, Leslie does a lot of work for the township, and she is very, very still under salary. I mean, as far as others are concerned, she's still low, but she does take good care of the township, and I'm all in favor of moving this forward for 3 more years.
We get a lot of personal service from her, which is nice.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve Leslie's agreement for the professional engineering day-to-day services between the Charter Township of Lyon and Civil Engineering Solutions.
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We're going to move on to Highland Treatment's agreement renewal for the wastewater treatment plant. Again, he does a really good job, and these are really great rates.
When you compare what we paid even many years ago when we were stuck with that contract with the Water Resource Commissioner's Office, and we were paying like exponentially more, you know, all the money that we had to fix our infrastructure was going to pay for things that we weren't even really taking advantage of or getting service for with Oakland County Water Resource Commissioner. It was an unfortunate stretch of years where we were significantly overpaying with the county, and I think that Highland Treatment, as is the case in my estimation with all of our consultants, is giving us a very fair price, and I have no objection to either of the two.
It's only going up $410.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah,
Really, really reasonable.
He also does a lot for us.
Yeah.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the Highland Treatment Agreement renewal for the wastewater treatment plant for 2026.
I'll support. Oh, go ahead, Robert. You go ahead.
Okay. We have motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I would have the same agreement for our water treatment plant that he does an amazing job with also. And these are still very low rates.
Make a motion to approve the Highland Treatment Agreement for the renewal of the water treatment plant agreement for 2026.
I'll support.
Go ahead.
Second.
That's all right.
Motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, that concludes our meeting for tonight. And any other comments? Anyone wants to make? We're going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Thanks.